Okay, we're on the air.
Good morning. We are on the air. So welcome to the third open meeting of the board. I would like to call this meeting to order. And the next thing will be the Pledge of Allegiance, led by our Director Frankel.
Please follow me in the pledge of allegiance to our flag.
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Director Frankel. I'd now like to acknowledge the media. Okay. And do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I so move.
I second.
Are there any comments?
I'm expecting a member, although she hasn't shown up yet, to discuss item 11, the second item, 3138C. I'd like to remove that for the agenda,
You'd like to move it from the consent
from
calendar?
the consent calendar.
To items, so which one is it?
The second item,
313?
3138C.
And you want to move that to?
Wherever you want to.
Well, we'll move it to, we'll
If she
make it-
doesn't show, then we won't discuss it.
Well, okay, so we're just going to remove that. We could probably put it under unfinished business, because to an extent, it's unfinished. So we'll make that ABCD. Does that work for you, John?
That's fine, thank you.
Okay, is it
So what number is that, 12B?
12D? Okay, yes, Bill?
I'd like to add to the agenda item, I guess it's going to be 12E now. It's
Okay.
going to entertain a motion to approve a resolution for revisions to alteration standard 31 washer and dryer installations.
Okay, and the reason why that is being added to the agenda is because it was omitted in error. So we're not, we had it on last month, so we have to put it back on the agenda, because being a very responsible board, we can't have things disappear into an abyss. So thank you very much, Bill. Is there anything else? Okay, so would you?
Just a second.
Oh.
I got in front of me an addendum to that, to the agenda for item 13B, which is entertain a motion to revise the traffic rules and regulations, section 7.6.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm going to add that to the agenda.
it's on the agenda.
Well, why do we have a second? Is it
It's
changed?
because it was corrected, because the attachment was incorrect.
Okay, good.
So all you're doing is adding paper, but it's staying.
All right, just wanted to make sure we got it. That's all.
Okay, so we have two slight corrections to the agenda, but they're not merely editorial. So do we have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So move.
Second? Second. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we need a motion to approve the minutes. Shall we do them jointly or separately? All right, we're going to do them jointly, unless somebody has a problem. Okay, so do we have a motion?
I so move.
Thank you very much. Jules, do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Roy, all those in favor? Okay, thank you. I guess we're not voting by the screen today, are we? We can. All right, well, we'll save that till later. Okay, so now it's report of the chair. On the agenda, it says employee recognition, and again, that shouldn't be there. The employee recognition is going to be done by our VMS director on number 9. We do have an employee to recognize because he did an incredible job with a fire in a building, but he is not, he's on vacation. So we're going to recognize him next month. The one thing that I would like to talk about is the ability to post to be on the board is closed. We thank the people who came. We have 5 candidates, 1 incumbent, Jules Allen, and 4 others, and I'll mention their names: Paul Chow, Lynn Jarrett, who is the president of the Garden Villa Association, Gon, and I cannot pronounce his last name. Well, can anyone give it a shot? What?
Try.
Mukop Adayev. I did all right? I can go to India next week. All right. And Craig Wayne. And these are all, candidates. They've been checked out. They live in the village. They don't owe us any money, and they want to serve. So on Friday, this Friday morning at 9:30 a.m. in this very room, we're going to have Meet the Candidates. And that is when we have an announcer. His name is Dave Deering, who is a superstar in our community. He's in with the theater groups. He is going to be our moderator. He's going to be assisted by John Luby, who is also a former board member, not for our board. I think he was on GRF. He's going to be assisted by John Luby so that we, the board, doesn't get a chance to touch any of the questions. John is going to do that. And so we have questions prepared, and then also the candidates are going to tape interviews that are going to be televised, and more information will be coming out by our communication department as to when you could see all of these things. We're really trying to, as we said before, trying to change things up in the running for the board. In the past, it used to cost us quite a bit of money. We would spend all this money on flyers. I've spent probably $1,500 or $2,000 over the years, and I donate my time. So so we're trying to change it, but we're trying to make it exciting. Probably what am I going to call it now? The ballots will be coming out about Labor Day, and you'll get more information on that when it comes out. Correct? Am I right, Brad? So we're very excited. We have 3 vacancies. Jules was appointed, but he's rerunning, and Bill and Bert are not rerunning, and we're very sad to lose them. So that is what I have to say. We thank you for, we always get excited when we have an election. We're going, what if nobody decides to run? What are we going to do now? Force the other ones to stay. No. Well, we can't do that. So in any case, we thank you for your support, and we hope you get excited about the election, and we hope that when you get the information, you vote. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over to open forum. That is to recognize our residents who want to come up. Generally, you shouldn't be addressing something that's already on the agenda, because we will be addressing it during the meeting. And you're allowed 3 minutes. Cheryl is the timekeeper. And please go ahead, Cheryl.
Our first speaker is Chris Collins.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. Chris Collins, 3306Q. I'm here to speak about the foundation of Laguna Woods Village. A partnership that really works. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. That's attributed to Helen Keller. That message certainly reflects the ongoing partnership between the foundation of Laguna Woods Village and the village's social services staff. For over 20 years, that partnership has strived to meet the needs of village residents by providing temporary financial aid to village residents facing financial crisis. Help has been provided in these ways: electricity bills, caregiver services, doctor costs, dental care, taxi vouchers, and also with grocery cards. Today, that partnership has expanded to include the following: purchase of medical alerts, ambulance contracts, distribution of earthquake kits, and transportation to the local food pantry. To request help from the foundation, a resident only has to go to the social services, which is located here in the rear of the community center on the first floor. Trained staff can be reached at 949-597-4267 and will explain how to qualify for such temporary emergency assistance. But the village's service staff does much more than just provide a link to the foundation. It's a valuable resource connecting residents with things like caregiver service, meal delivery, mental health programs, dementia care, and adult protective services. The social services staff is ready to be able to conduct comprehensive biopsychological assessments that can be performed, and the team of trained social workers can also help residents during a time of crisis. The Friendly Visitor Program is also a part of the Social Services Department. This program has been designed to train residents to develop the compassion and skills necessary to become welcome companions to less active residents. So for more information, you can reach the foundation by phone, which is 949-268-2246, or by email, which is thefoundation@comline.com. Please visit our website. It's at thefoundationoflagunawoodsvillage.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. And I know that no one sits in the office 24-hour a day. So if someone calls, they leave a message and they're called back, right, Chris?
They are.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next.
Our next speaker is Greg Lerman.
Good morning, Greg.
Morning, Greg Lerman, 2400 1C. I want to talk about generally about the Roundup and pesticide and insecticide
And we're
issue.
ready.
Good. Two things. One, I want to give my support to Lois and Esther, who you'll be hearing from later. And I'm very concerned about the use of pesticides in our village and our equestrian center. Number two is I think we're vulnerable to the lawyers who are now recruiting class action lawsuits against Monsanto and Bayer. So I think we have a large financial issue facing us. So I think we should take drastic action in solving this issue of the use of pesticides and insecticides that are harmful to the residents and our pets. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Esther Wright.
Esther Wright, 3036N.
Good morning, Esther.
Good morning. And I'm one of the co-chairs of the Non-Toxic Laguna Woods Project, which originally was called the Health and Wellness Project. So even though it appears that some of us are talking about Roundup, we're really talking about health and wellness. Your health and wellness as residents, my health and wellness as a resident, and the pets and dogs that are frequently affected by the use of pesticides that have carcinogenic chemicals in them. So we have been working on this project and have been amazed at the number of people that have come forward, as our residents who have come forward. We are going to be, in fact, we've already presented petitions from 810 third mutual owners who in the last 3 weeks have signed this petition asking for an immediate stop of using Roundup. And we were just amazed at how many people came forward to go door to door in 80 and 90 degree temperatures to have their neighbors sign this petition. So this is a very serious matter, and many, many residents are concerned about it. So what I've been asked to do, Lois and I kind of decided how we were going to do today. When we submitted the copy of the petitions to the secretary, we felt that there should be a cover letter accompanying it so that you would have a kind of a context for looking at the 810 signatures. So I'm going to read this letter very quickly, and it's written to all of you, to Brad Hudson, to the president, to the entire board. And we know you all care about the health and wellness of the residents of Laguna Woods. That never even is a question for us in our own thinking. So dear Third Mutual President and Board, on behalf of the Non-Toxic Laguna Woods Project and the more than 800 Third Mutual owners who circulated and signed petitions, we ask you to heed the request and demand of your constituents to immediately ban Monsanto's Roundup usage in the entire Third Mutual in Laguna Woods Village. Our residents are deeply concerned about their health and welfare, as well as the health and welfare of their dogs. We are also concerned about the health risks associated with ongoing exposure to our VMS landscape staff who work so hard to keep Laguna Woods such a beautiful place to live. It has been proven that glyphosate, the active ingredient of Roundup, is carcinogenic. Several Southern California cities have banned Roundup in their schools, public parks, and so on. They have been successful working closely with the guidance of the Non-Toxic Neighborhood Group, and who have worked with us as well, and have replaced Roundup with non-toxic herbicides, pesticides, and insecticides. And I'm pleased to say, as an aside, that Bruce Hartley has investigated and talked to the people in Irvine to find out which organic and natural products they are now using instead of Roundup. With the information, Laguna Woods residents are quite aware that non-toxic, natural, and safer products are available that are not carcinogenic. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to read the rest of the letter, but you will get a copy of it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. And we don't answer things that are brought to us one by one when it's all over. One of the directors or our general manager or Bruce Hartley, who happens to be here, will speak to the, because we asked him to come, will address what you have brought forth. Next.
Our next speaker is Linda Kolsty Oskanek. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Linda Kolsteos Kynak, 3298 Via Carrizo P.
Good morning.
Hi. I would like to just inject a point here very briefly because we've heard some compelling arguments about personal health and wellness, which I think we can all identify with. But as an organization, so on a bigger systemic level, I just would like to make the point that best practices, most organizations use that as one of their means of making decisions. So I'd like to introduce into the record the names of all of the other city councils who have done this, who have voted to take glyphosate out of their parks, recreation areas, what have you. Those are Burbank, Carlsbad, Encinitas, Irvine, Petaluma, Richmond, Thousand Oaks. Those are the ones we have at least on record. They have determined that it was cost effective, which I know is a very big consideration for any organization. So I just want you to know that I appreciate that and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next speaker is Lois Rubin.
Hi.
Good morning, Lois.
Good morning. Lois Rubin. I'm not a real doctor. I'm a PhD. But I'm also a certified health and wellness coach, and I am very, very deeply concerned about this issue. And I'm also concerned from the legalities that are involved now that this lawsuit has been pretty much done and over with, and there are like 5,000 other lawsuits coming up in the works against Monsanto. So I want to read you the petition. I know there's a copy of our petition for third. Petition to change to non-carcinogenic weed killers. We, the undersigned members of Third Laguna Hills Mutual, are committed to the health and wellness of ourselves, our neighbors, our pets, and the VMS staff. We have certified that Laguna Woods Village uses as a weed killer Monsanto's Roundup. Its main ingredient, glyphosate, has been identified by the World Health Organization as toxic and is potentially carcinogenic. This product is a danger to all of us in this community. We hereby demand that the use of Monsanto's Roundup be stopped immediately and instead be replaced with organic, non-carcinogenic herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, and pesticides. We urge all directors, VMS staff, and Laguna Woods Village citizens to support the replacement of Roundup with safer products that will not endanger our health, our pets, and the environment in which we live. We hereby also request that all current board members, directors, and all candidates for the Third Laguna Hills Mutual Board state their position and make a commitment to support this elimination of the use of Roundup and change to the use of non-carcinogenic herbicides, pesticides, etc., immediately, not to wait for any potential litigation in Laguna Woods Village, which will cost all of us a huge increase in our monthly assessment. And I just want to thank you all for taking this so seriously. It is really important. In addition, it's not just the spraying It's not just spraying of the Roundup. What happens is the Roundup then gets watered, it goes into the groundwater, and I don't know if any of you have noticed the horrific smell, the horrible smell when those sprinklers go off every night. It is horrific. It smells like we're being poisoned with chlorine gas. So it's potentially an issue for the El Toro Water District as well, because the Roundup goes into the groundwater. And yes, we may not, if we cotton swab it, we may not find it on our cotton swab. But guess what, folks? It's going down into the groundwater. And then we're being sprayed. People have strange forms of cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. The dogs are getting serious, weird cancers. Let's do something about this. Let's take action.
Thank you,
Thank
Lois.
you all so much.
And thank you for your passion.
Our next speaker is Susan Smallwood.
Good morning, Susan.
Good morning. I address the board today regarding a cease and desist letter I received from Attorney Gottlieb via my attorney, Andrew Weiss. While walking through the common area earlier this month, looking at and taking some photos of how other manor owners improve their property, I was apparently videotaped by one of the manor owners. I am told the manor owner contacted security and accused me of casing his home to prepare for a burglary. The next day, I went and introduced myself, and I was dressed both days like this. A few days later, I received a letter from Ms. Gottlieb accusing me of looking in the manor's owner windows and demanding that I cease and desist harassing the manor owner and assessing the common area around his home. I feel that I have been tried and convicted without due process by association. Once the homeowner dispute arose, I should have been notified that a complaint had been made so that I had an opportunity to respond. Based upon many untruths told by the manor owner, I received a very hostile letter from Ms. Gottlieb. The letter reads like it was written by Ms. Gottlieb as a paid advocate for the complaining manor owner rather than as a neutral representative of the board, complying with the bylaws and the dispute resolution process. Section 4.8 of the bylaws provides that the board intends to resolve disagreements and misunderstandings between mutual members by conferences, hearing, and discussions in a non-adversarial cooperative environment. Instead, the board has labeled me a bully and a harasser without any chance to respond. It is important that I be heard on this specific matter, as I am sure Ms. Gottlieb's letter is a permanent part of the board's files. For all the reasons stated above, I respectfully request the board schedule the informal resolution process contemplated by the bylaws or expunge Ms. Gottlieb's letter from the association's records in closest manner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Smallwood.
Okay, our next speaker is Yori Denmark.
Good morning. Yori
Good
Newmark,
morning.
24-5B, 2B. You should have copies of this, and there's more here than I can cover in 3 minutes, but I'll try to go through some of the topics. The first thing is our part of the village has only 2 main gates. And in an emergency, if we need to evacuate the area, ain't gonna work. There's too many residents to deal with 2 gates. So I'd like to see if we can change that. The second topic I have here is the fact that we can't go all around the golf course. We're allowed to go between between clubhouse 2 and 4 on one side. We cannot go on the other side. This is probably the nicest piece of real estate we have here. And yes, we need to address the safety of non-golfers, but it shouldn't prevent us from opening it up, the golf course opening up to people that want to walk besides Via Mariposa. I'd like to suggest we have weekly, monthly kind of luncheons in the parking lot of either one of the clubhouses and bring in food trucks. We currently have only one restaurant in the whole village, and short of going out of the village, we don't have any other opportunities to have some other food. So if we had I don't know, Friday afternoon, bunch of food trucks, maybe some entertainment, maybe that could add some livelihood. Some issues regarding energy. We're in a rare situation where the owners don't own the outside of their buildings. So as a community, we should cover every part that faces the sun with solar panels. But we should take it a step beyond it and have something that's called a microgrid. There's a link there that can give you some more information about it. But essentially, instead of being separate entities or separate buildings, we treat the whole community as a microgrid, and we manage it together with backup batteries that we can supplement when there's no sun and when there's a blackout, and then maybe sell or buy back from the utilities whatever excess of energy we may generate.
You have 44 seconds. You have 44 seconds left, but you're doing fine.
Thank you, ma'am. Then building lights. Recently, we've upgraded. I live in Villa Garden. I'm a neighbor of Jack, and they've replaced all our lights with LED lights, which are permanently on at night. It looks like a jail. And there's better ways of doing it with motion sensors and photo sensors, and they will turn on and off automatically, and based on motion, based on the time of day. Water. Change the toilets to dual flashes. We have low flash, turn them into dual flash. I'm available if you need any help.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Franklin Smith.
Oh, good. Good morning, Franklin. We haven't seen you for a while, and it's good to see that you're alive and kicking. But don't kick too hard today.
Well, my manor is 5369 3D. You already know who I am. Last week, I came home, and I noticed that a doorstop had been put on my laundry door, which directly faces my unit. And for 50 years, that door has been held shut by an automatic door closer to keep the laundry noise from coming into my unit. And I wasn't notified, and I suspected that one of the neighbors did that. And I took it off, and I came in, and I talked to Barbara, and I gave it to her, and I said, you know, whoever put this in there, this was a really bad idea, and I should have been notified because this directly impacts, you know, my life, you know, with laundry noise literally throughout the house. And I've been here 25 years, and you know, I don't know what more to say about it. I don't know how it came about, but I noticed downstairs, I'm on the 3rd floor. The other 2 units now have that, and really, it just, you know, without talking, there's hundreds of people that are impacted by this if they're going to do it to all the buildings, and I've heard nothing from Third Mutual, you know, about this. So this problem needs to be addressed. Okay, I have another problem. 3 years ago, a neighbor, a little over 3 years ago, a neighbor did a remodel downstairs underneath me and took the acoustic ceiling off and then put a renter in there. And I snore pretty loud, you know, and so I get woken up in the middle of the night almost every night now for 3 years, and I haven't complained. And I've noticed an increase in subsonic sound which is identified as infrasound, that can be done with a standard home entertainment system. It can be modified so that it'll go to the lower frequencies. That starts up like between 2 and 5 o'clock in the morning. And this has been going on for several months. So I've called security, I've called the sheriffs, I've talked to GRF, I've talked to the city, and now I'm talking to Third Mutual. And, you know, they come over and this is inaudible noise. You can't hear it with your ears. You feel it in your body. It's a vibration. So I'm in my bed laying down and I'm vibrating. You know, it's ridiculous. Like I have a vibration bed, you know. So, you know, I mean, I went downstairs once to this woman who's down there and I asked, why are you beating on the ceiling? And she said, I'm not. So I don't know what else to do. I got a letter from Third Mutual and I don't know who sent the letter, but Third Mutual sent me a letter saying that they wanted to check the sound. But I talked to compliance and I said, audible sound isn't what it is, it's subsonic. And then there's the woman who's pounding on the ceiling. You're not gonna hear it when you're there, so that's a waste of time. So it's a problem that I'm still dealing with, and I'm at a loss for words. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we are too, but we'll talk about that one. Okay.
By the way, I have a device here that records subsonic. It's an app, and I have hundreds of recordings of this going on.
Okay. Is there anyone else?
Yes, Raquel Unger is our last speaker.
Oh, so she's not. Good morning, Raquel.
Good morning. 3421. Okay, my issue is GRF going to compensate Third for more than 100 vehicles, campers, trailers being parked on Avenida Sociaga? Thank you.
Okay, so if we are done with the resident questions, we thank you all. So there are a few things, and so I'm going to start with a really simple one because I know we're going to spend a good amount of time on the roundup. Franklin Smith, I don't know who put those on the doors because I live in a 3-story building also. And we didn't know about it. And the thing is in our building, I thought it was pretty good because people used to keep the door open with a little orange thing that didn't hold it in place. So we're going to have to look into it because if anything, having the door stopper is a good thing when you're moving in and out with your laundry. But I don't know if there's a way to remind people that when they're not using the room, they should leave the door closed. So I think that we're just going to have to work on that. But again, it isn't something that Third Mutual decided, oh, let's go put these door stoppers in, because I was rather surprised myself. So we will look into that. I don't know about the sound part.
Well,
So I'm looking
I don't
at
either.
Bill.
I don't
Because,
either, but we do know that there's such a thing as quiet enjoyment in the community. And that's what we strive for, but I have no idea.
Take some research.
Okay, so we're going to have to research that. Okay, for the gentleman who, Yuri, with all of his, some of your suggestions are GRF related, having to do with the gates, having to do with the golf
Food truck.
area, the food trucks, all of that. So we will make sure that our representative on the Community Activities Committee takes that forward, as an idea to our Recreation Department. And the rest we will bring forward. I know that, I think I could have Bill address the rest because the lights and the microgrid are energy situations.
Right. Do you want me to do that now?
Yes, because we're answering the questions.
Okay. Yuri, you've got your email address here at hotmail.com? Okay. There's going to be a meeting of the Energy Task Force. There is a monthly meeting. It'll be on September 12th at 9:30 in the morning in this building on the second floor in the Cypress Room. Actually, it's going to be in the Willow Room this time, I think. Siobhan, maybe you can correct me on that, okay? And we'd love to have you come. We are already talking about microgrids. I don't know if you're aware of it. The board is aware of it. We just had a year's worth of data on the electricity we're producing on 12 installations. And we've produced enough electricity to save Third Mutual close to $250,000 in electricity bills this last year. And we're really proud of that. We're always looking for new ideas to conserve energy. And we'd love to have you come and join us. You can see what we're doing. Right now, Third is poised to replace all of the high-pressure sodium street lights with LED lighting to save money, but also to increase the amount of lumens that are out there to brighten up the community at night. And we're in the process of putting in walkway lighting in gates 5 and 6 with new bollards that are dispersing more light with LED lights. So there's a lot to do. We've got a consultant on retainer, and we're going to have that consultant talk to us about what we can do to improve our infrastructure, because we are seeing more and more people beginning to adopt electric vehicles in the community. And our garages and carports don't have the electricity capacity right now to handle that. So please come and join us.
In addition to the changing the streetlights to LED, we're also working with the company who we're working with to see if there's the possibility of changing the fixtures in some of them, because some of the areas are really dark. So if it had a different type of fixture, it could give more light. I'm not technical on that. I'm looking at the visual part. So that's something else that we're working on. So that's a big project that's coming up for Third. We've made the agreement to buy the street poles, the street lights, but we haven't acquired them yet, and then we have to go through the entire process with our staff, with the company that we hired. So we are always looking for volunteers on our committees to work with us and bring forth their ideas. So thank you. Okay, so I wrote those down. For Ms. Smallwood, I'm a little bit shocked to hear what we did. So Bert, can we talk to her off after the meeting? Is that possible? Do we have the opportunity, do we have the information to contact you? Do we have all that information? We will do that, because Bert and I have conferences with residents. We try not to call it problem resolution, because we don't like problems, but I don't either. So we have a meeting with 2 residents on Thursday morning. So we will definitely meet with you, and we will try to figure this out and get this all straightened out, because we certainly have no intention, and it is not our desire to not be polite and fair to our residents, because that's why everybody works so hard to take care of our residents. Did I miss anything before we get to the Roundup part, to the pesticide part? Was there any? Yes, John.
I'd like to ask Brad or Siobhan, I'm pretty sure that parking situation is due to sort of an improvement project at the RV lot. Could you?
That's correct. Yeah, that was on my list to discuss today, but I can discuss it now.
Okay. Thank you, John.
RV Lot A is being, it's kind of a partial reconstruction and then a partial slurry seal and restriping. And so to do that, obviously, you've got hundreds and hundreds of RVs that have to be removed so we can complete that work. And the work is scheduled in the next couple of weeks, so we will be relocating those RVs, as we've done in the past, for a few days along Sosiega. It's about the widest street and best location we have to put those on. I believe it's a GRF street. Bruce, you confirm that? Yes, it's owned by GRF. And so they're moving those onto that street temporarily. There'll be, there has been some notices going out. There'll be more. There are a couple that are out there early because people are going on vacation. And they asked, well, can we move it a couple days early because we're not going to be around? And that's much preferable than us having to tow it during the construction project and risk delays. It's a bit of an inconvenience. It won't last long, but it'll be very nice when the RV lot is completed and up to current standards. We've done a lot of things over there, fixing restrooms, cameras, lights, security, and now this is kind of the last piece of that. So I beg the community's indulgence as we make this long overdue improvement.
Okay, I was just leaning over and saying to Bill, should we tackle the roundup part, or should we let Bruce and Brad handle it? I think that's what we'll do. But the basic thing is we are very concerned ourselves. You know, I have a cute little dog who I don't let her walk on the grass, not for anything, you know. She's a city dog. But the thing is that we're very concerned. We know that there has been this has been very active in United, and we work very closely with United. So we are, when I say we're prepared mentally to work on this. So we asked Bruce to be here. I don't know if he ran away.
He's here.
Oh, he's here. So I don't know. I mean,
I'm happy to comment on it myself,
I'm sure.
as I am everything, of course.
As always. No, the thing is we're very, very concerned about this, and we definitely will make sure, work very hard to take care of our community. So I'll turn it over to you first, Brad, and then Bruce, if you'd like. Okay.
Yeah, obviously, this is an issue that communities have faced, particularly those with active recreation elements, soccer fields, baseball fields, that sort of thing. So cities have been dealing with this for a long time, and trying to limit exposure on those kinds of community amenities because of the potential for direct exposure. And I think there's lessons to be learned with respect to that. I think we probably shouldn't expect too much out of the alternative chemicals. They can be productive to a point, but quite frankly, the best alternative to Roundup is a string trimmer. And that's the best alternative, and gets you the best looking yard in a safe manner.
Is that what you're planning on doing?
Yes.
Like tomorrow?
Well, not tomorrow, but I think Bruce is running a few demonstration projects on some of the organics to see how they work. I think in some locations they can work okay. Again, I think placing Roundup the way we have for probably many years around manors is not a good idea. I think we should stop doing it.
Immediately? I mean,
I would stop doing it immediately.
Okay, well then that's got to be your pledge.
I think it's just, immediately, Bruce needs to go buy a few string trimmers, but nonetheless.
That's okay.
I just think there's a lot of unknowns there. There's a lot of physical contact with pets and residents and grandkids and God knows who else. And it doesn't do a good job, particularly with Kikuyu, because there's so many runners and stuff. It drives the grass away from the manors. That's
Okay.
why you see what used to be maybe a 6-inch chemical barrier now is 3 feet. I mean, it's eliminating grass from a large part of our community, especially in thin areas. So I think it looks bad. It's potentially dangerous. I wouldn't want it on my kid's Little League field. Why would I want it on my grandmother's front yard? And so I just think we can do better, and we can look better, we can be healthier. We're doing so many things, and I have to say this. I look at what this board has done with solar, with LEDs, with composting and recycling, with water conservation. I can go on and on and on. This is a very green board, and I think this is right in line. Right in line. Maybe I should have said conscientious. But it's right in line with all the other things that you're doing. So why not do this too? Might it cost a little more? Maybe a little bit more. Might it look a lot better? Yes. Will it be healthier? I think so. And so for all those reasons, and I don't want to overstep my bounds here. You have committees and leadership that does that. I think it's a smart thing to do. Are there places where we would use it? Well, yeah. Maybe in the middle of a road for weeds popping up, or along the side of a highway, or up on a slope along El Toro, yes. but not in somebody's front yard.
Or the golf course.
Well, I bet, to go to best practice, though, a best practice would be not to have it in here at all. Because once you, even if you say the slope, this and that, once you have it, somebody could use it for something else. Because we've all been there, we've all worked in major organizations, and before you know it, it'll be, even though Bruce would not permit it, it would be sneaked, put back in. So I'm sure that you will be able to take care of it. And you're really pushing it when you said your grandmother's yard.
Maybe I shouldn't say my mother's yard.
Mother's would be better. But in any case, we have.
I'm only 45, I just have gray hair.
hair. Okay.
White hair, excuse me,
So
not
we
gray.
have 3 hands up, and I don't know which is first. James was first, then Cush, and was there anyone? And Ben Burt. Okay, so take it in that order. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, actually, our landscape, we're actually engaging, we try to go water saving, eliminate a lot of the grasses. Next year, we'll do little by little. By doing that, maybe we can eliminate any kind of a pesticides, totally away. We can reduce the amount of grass that in our community. And in fact, later I'll show you some of the pictures I took. Bruce took me to this great park, the new community. There's no grass at all just water-saving plants. And I like to show you that to see how you feel. And then maybe by doing that, we not only save water, but eliminate pesticides too. So thank you. Who's next?
It's me. I was trying to figure this out. James, I echo your thought. A Mediterranean-style front yard or backyard, whichever one it is, less grass, less pesticide, and still looking nice, less money spent on water. And that is what I wanted to say, but you took the words out of my mouth. Thank you. And Brad, we don't look green, I think.
Conscientious.
Conscientious. Thank you.
Bert was next.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, nobody wants to harm our residents, and we don't want to harm ourselves. We live here. We're not on Mars looking down on this community. So this is a very important issue. And I'm a chemist, and I know how important it is. But what I want to point out is there's a trade-off. If we go away from these chemicals, maybe our lawns aren't going to look just as great as we think they are now, or what we want. So there's a learning experience in terms of what the residents want and what they see. Just as we go more and more towards green, we have to make some adjustments. That's all I wanted to say.
We might go less and less toward green. All right, so Bill is next, and then Jules.
Lois, and is it Esther? Lois and Esther? Looking at this, am just astounded at your activism and what a thing you did. Now I need to borrow you, okay? No, that's not true. I maybe a little misconception. Well, I'll start out with something else. We have a problem where people are gardening in common area, okay? And we don't have a big enough police force here to enforce people's to enforce the idea that you're not supposed to use chemicals. And people grow vegetables and other food that they consume, other things they consume. And this should be a warning. I mean, this should be a wake-up call to them that these chemicals are not good to be using, even if they're infringing in common area. We don't want those chemicals in our common area. So if you see neighbors using pesticides out there, we can't control that. If they go down to, over to Home Depot and buy a pesticide or an herbicide, we can't control that. So the best thing to do is quit gardening in the common area. And I know that's a hard thing for people to hear. They want, I love to garden, but I went and got a garden plot. So if you want to do that, go and grow your food somewhere where you can control, you can control the environment a little better. The other thing is, Orange County doesn't have much groundwater. Okay, you're worried about groundwater. Most of it, Brad, you can correct me on this, almost all of the water that we get here comes from the LA Metropolitan Water District. And El Toro Water pays them for that water. And water consumption is a really important thing here. Or we really want to do conservation of as much water as we can. The other thing is that smell you smell, I smell it 2 or 3 times a week. I live in an area that about 3 years ago was converted to recycled water. And that's tertiary, it's a secondary or tertiary treated water. And so it does have a smell. And it's got more salts in it than the original tap water. So that's where I think that's probably where that smell is coming. I don't know whether where you're living has been converted to recycled water, but yeah, I think that's where the smell is coming from. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill. Jules?
Yeah, I think this has been a terrific meeting so far. I thank Linda and Lois and Yuri for your participation and, right? There's only about 340 days left to get your application in for board membership next year, and that's what you really should do. This is terrific. We really need your enthusiasm.
We
and
can
your
sign you up
energy.
right now.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much.
Come on down.
Oh, Jules is going to do anything to get votes. So, I have 2 things before. Number one is we try to be very organized about this, and we are going to ask Bruce to come up and speak if he'd like to. But is there anyone that we missed in our comments? Anyone who came who had a comment that we didn't intentionally ignore? I think that we covered it all because I usually write it all down. So we will get back to all of the people that we said we're going to get back to. Franklin, we're going to check on that and all the other things that we talked about. So at this point, Bruce, would you come up and forget the like part? Would you please come up and address our community? Thank you.
Good morning. Maybe I could start with just giving you an update of where we are in the progression of the Roundup issue. We went to United Landscape 2 times, and second time received direction to do a 100-day test of about 5 organic-based products. So we're starting that now. We told them to take a couple weeks to get those products on board, and then we're going to do tests where we spray half a cul-de-sac with the organic and half the cul-de-sac areas with Roundup. We'd look at it for approximately 3 months. We'd come back at a December meeting. That gives us a chance to compare whether they actually work. When we did the first meeting, I think it was back in June, we immediately started testing 2 products. And what we found is they're not doing really well. We're going to include those in the test of the other products, and we're going to follow all the recommendations of manufacturer, add the additives to them, and I'm going to oversee it to make sure our staff is doing it correctly so that it's defensible. We can show the actual results. There's no tainting or mismixing or anything. We're going to make sure it's accurate. What we had we're going to suggest a 3rd landscape at our next meeting, and we've already met with the committee to discuss agenda, was lay out the same idea for 3rd and to watch United results and in December make a decision. That's not what we're hearing today, but that's what staff is recommending, is testing the products in United, doing the tests there, not replicating them and doing all that in 3rd, and just seeing how the results go in United, and then move from there. Certainly side by side with that, we'll lay out what the cost would be if we did it mechanically with weed eaters and people. Obviously people are hard to come by, but just generally, we haven't looked at the details, but from what my manager and supervisors tell me, it would probably take about 4 people per mutual added to the mow crews to do the weed eating mechanically. So there's roughly over the 2 mutuals, that's somewhere in the $400,000 to $500,000 per year range So we'll look at that. We'll see what it would actually take, what it would take on the crews, what that looks like if those materials don't provide the results we need, or perhaps they work on some areas and don't work on others. So by testing those and putting together some numbers, I think the committees can recommend some good decisions to the board. But I think we'll have more information. If we need to stop those products, Roundup products now, then we will, and we will find a way to get that edging and the weed control done mechanically. But at this point, we were going to do a test. So that kind of brings you up to speed of where we are. I did meet with non-toxic Irvine or non-toxic neighborhoods who had done this in Irvine. They gave me information on additional products because we were looking at only 1 or 2 products. Now we have a 5 or 6 to choose from. And so we've contacted our suppliers, and they're providing those materials for us. So that was a good source of information, because if you're not moving in the kind of organic pesticide industry, it's hard to find these new products unless you find somebody that's using them. And locally, Irvine is really the only city that's using them entirely on public lands. It has to be 100% organic. So all their contractors are using them, and so we have some sources of some good information. But anyway, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, Bruce, I think that, we hear our residents saying, we want you to stop now. And I think that from the board's perspective, usually because I'm more radical, I'd say, yeah, let's stop now, because that's what people are saying. I don't know what the ramifications are of that if we stop now. And is this going to look like, a maniac takes care of our lawns? I don't know. So I think that we should, and also we have our legal counsel at our afternoon meeting. So I think we should move this to closed session so we can make the right decision, and we know how important the decision is. So does that work? What do you think?
We can do that. I think another alternative is to send it to your landscape committee and to have.
But the thing is we can't send it from committee to committee to committee. We're asking people who are asking for us to do it now. We know that United has agreed to do a test to December. So basically, I think that the board should talk about it, and if we need you this afternoon, we'll call you.
Okay.
All right? Does that work for us?
Yeah.
Board? Yes?
Well, to me, if a resident feels there's harm to their health, we should stop immediately.
Well, that's why we're going to put it on our
Yeah.
closed session and do it.
Then, in fact, this is the way I see it. If we stop immediately, and then if we begin to see our turf or grass become worse, then that's exactly the place that we want to remove this grass.
Okay.
We want guidelines where to remove.
I don't think your grass is
Those
going to
ones
look
getting
worse.
worse.
Your grass is
Okay.
going to look better.
In any case, we want to have the rest of our meeting. We know how important this is, so we will definitely to continue the discussion this.
Yeah,
all right?
so,
Okay.
what I want to say to residents, please, we may have a transition time that we see the worst grass, but those are the places we're going to remove first.
And so we're
next
going
year.
to discuss it this afternoon, and then we will make sure that we move forward, okay? We hear you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next item, and thank everyone for coming. This is the biggest crowd we've had. I thought it was going to be bigger. So the next thing will be, and I'm like looking, anyone could stay. Okay, we are now going to have an update from our VMS Director, Marcy Scheinwald, who is also going to talk about employee recognition. Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Good morning, everybody. I decided to do something a little different this morning. I usually come and I give you an update in general terms of what VMS is doing. But I thought today you should meet some of the people who are VMS. And in essence, these are some of the people that were recently recognized at an employee recognition program. I invited 5 of our employees here today because they are very special. They also reflect the changes over the past 2.5 years in terms of working towards greater efficiencies, trying to streamline our government or village governance a little bit, while also maintaining an emphasis on customer service. And the first person I would like to recognize today is somebody you all know very well, Cheryl Silver. Come on. Cheryl was moved into the corporate office in 2017, and it is my understanding, and Bill, you will appreciate this, that she developed the operating procedures for that office and has trained the staff in that office on how it should operate. And she has also worked with other departments in training on agendas, minutes, and Granicus. That word just scares me. But in all, Cheryl is definitely our go-to person. And I should say she was, which is something that Brad does very well, he picks people from other departments and moves them over when they shine. She saved $42,000 in maintenance by reviewing waste management contracts. So Cheryl is definitely very special. So thank you.
And she has a lot of patience.
With all of us.
Well, with us.
The second person I'd like to ask to come up here is Melissa Serrato. Melissa, come on. And Melissa's supervisor is here, and Chris Spar is here, because they wanted to make sure I got it right when I introduced her. Melissa is a customer service representative who has been with the village since 2016. She is a multi-skilled agent who takes calls for broadband, resident services, and gate clearance. She also has begun a program of peer-to-peer counseling and training for other staff in resident services. And I think the thing that her supervisors most commended is her can-do attitude. Congratulations. The third person I'd like to call up is Marcy Viveros. Come on up. Over here, so everybody can see you, the television cameras. Marcy is in the Human Resources Division, and she was instrumental in our new HRIS payroll system, Dayforce, which permits in one central computer system the keeping or managing of payroll, attendance, timekeeping, and benefits administration. It replaced the more archaic separate systems that were in the village before. She has worked tirelessly to make that transition a reality a little over a year ago. Okay, so we're now joining the 21st century. And she has also worked tirelessly in training other staff in the new system. Marcy Viveros. The next person I'd like to call up is Miguel. Come on. Magdaleno, did I say it right? I practiced last night. Miguel is a recreation leader in our recreation department. He represents something else in the village, not the high technology, but that people component in terms of the willingness to take new assignments and to step in. We recently had a problem in Clubhouse 1 where there was a staff shortage. We didn't have a staff there to set up for a resident event. Miguel was over in Clubhouse 5. They called him over on an emergency basis. I understand you set up 28 tables or 23 tables, 8 chairs each in a half hour. And while that seems Herculean to me, The important part is he was able to have the event proceed on time, so residents didn't have to wait out in the excessive heat to come in and start the event. And I think we all appreciate that type of attitude in the employees. So, Miguel, thank you. And last but not least is Melody Thomas. Come on, Melody. Now, Brad wanted to know if she was here today because she wanted to be a television diva. But we do try to give everybody in the village a little screen time. I'm teasing you, sweet. Melody is a program coordinator in maintenance, and her contribution and why she was recognized is a little different. All of us have lived through the recent budget process. Melody is the numbers person in maintenance. She made sure that those numbers were accurate for the budget process and that they were based on actual information and experience. She also worked closely with all of the staff in that division during the budget process, and we appreciate her efforts. Thank you, Melody. Yes, ma'am.
And I would like to add that she saved me from having a breakdown while I was going through the building tenting process, because
Okay.
it's quite extreme, and we're working on improving it, but she is absolutely wonderful, and it is a bit of a challenge, so thank you very much. We're very proud of you, and we're going to fix that program up a little bit with your help. So
Yes.
thank you.
She helped me as well.
Oh, see, and James, she could help you.
All right, Melody is going to be very busy. There were other employees who were recognized that day. Juan Piancia and Juan Hernandez, who are carpentry technicians. James LaPierre in security. Myrna Wesper, who's a payroll coordinator. And Carolyn J. and Kimberly Fullerton, who are in leasing. We're very proud of all of the employees who we recognized that day. And while a date has not been scheduled yet for the next employee recognition, we will keep you informed. Just to do the rest of my report as briefly as I can, I do try to be brief. We, as a VMS board, are continuing to meet with division and department managers and heads, and you recently heard from Bruce, and we met with him in the month of July, and he outlined for us some of the issues and some of the programs that they are doing in general services. One, which impacts on Third Mutual, has to do with fire risk reduction on the slopes and creation of fire breaks. There's also been the purchase of 2 new 9-passenger vans to make our transportation system a little bit more flexible. There have been and there will continue to be improvements in road signage with new Telstar poles, and we're even improving our custodial services by replacing brooms and mops with scrubbers and sweepers. I could use one for my house. In addition, in July, Tim Moy came and spoke to us, actually the beginning of August, and his emphasis was clearly on security, and he reviewed with us the plans for this year for the additional gate arm installations, the improvements along Ridge Route, which are, in addition to an aesthetic concern, also a security concern. He talked about the activities that the security staff has been taking on the mail break-in problem, which has been affecting Third, and his efforts to place computers in security vehicles so there's a more immediate sharing of information and an automated response system. He ended by noting something which actually the foundation representative mentioned earlier today. And that had to do with the social services division in this village. From the perspective of both VMS and being involved with the foundation, the social services division in this village is probably one of the less sung heroes, but probably one of the more important elements in terms of meeting resident needs. Tim was so proud of his staff. They recently, through a grant effort and collaboration with Saddleback Hospital, are bringing on a new full-time staff social worker at no cost to the village, and they have also started a master's social work internship program, and we will have 2 master's levels interns here this fall, essentially doubling our staff, and one of them even speaks Chinese, which is an issue. With regard to staffing, July was a pretty good month. You know that we are affected by the economy like everybody else. We had 21 new hires. About half of them were full, half part-time, and 7 employees were moved up. But I always talk about the new. I learned an interesting statistic for last month. We had an employee who celebrated their 40th anniversary with the village. 2 of them, actually. 1 additional for 25 years and 1 for 20 years. That doesn't mean the story is over. The challenges are still ahead for us. I think the discussion of Roundup today underscores the fact that staff efforts, governing board efforts are a dynamic process that responds to the needs of the community, and we hope that VMS continues to be as responsive as possible. Thank you for the ability and opportunity to talk to you today.
Thank you, Marcy. Next on
Can I make
our-
a comment?
Yes, certainly.
Yeah. Social services is amazing. They're kind of unsung heroes. And until you really get to talk to them and find out what they do and what they're involved with, it's amazing. I just heard recently about a half-hour presentation, and I really wish that we could put it on TV. It's absolutely amazing. I don't know of any other place that has anything like this. My sister lives in the villages in Florida, 122,000 senior people. Nothing like this. They don't have it. But it needs to be publicized, I think.
Well, and I believe the fact that working with Tim and with Brad and also Siobhan, that we finally have added people to the department that are not on our payroll, but who are going to get their, working on their advanced degrees, doing work study programs. I mean, that is done in so many successful organizations, and it was totally missing here. I know we've been trying to get one in communication. Bert and I used to beat our head against the wall, but at least you were successful here, and we applaud that because we have additional help, people who are totally committed to it, and it's a great thing that you've done, so we're happy. Okay, so now we are up to, and you have about 10 minutes. No.
I'm going to try to roll through this pretty quick. So I know
We're
you've
up
had
to
a
the
very,
CEO report.
very busy morning. Madam President, members of the boards, members of the Third Community, it's always a pleasure to share with you some of the things we're doing. And I first want to start off by thanking this board, Eileen and others who really got the word out, both for Third and United, on getting candidates. I know there was a lot of work. Nothing will encourage somebody to run for the board more than talking to another board member who's already been there, had the experience, and they can share that. And I know our success in that area is largely due to your efforts, and I applaud you. We didn't want to have a situation like last year. We're actually running an election, and it's not necessary. And so here we have a competitive election, and I think residents will have choices to make, and that's very good for our village. Just a couple of things. Paving and slurry sealing. A lot of it's going on. A lot of it's going on, Roy, in your neighborhood. I drove by your house the other day. And We go through unbelievable efforts to maintain access for residents. We have a couple of former public works directors working here, and they would never make those kind of accommodations in a city. But here, our residents are special, and we treat them special, and so we make sure you can always get to your house. There is the occasional person who can't get in there, and so I just want them to know if they call resident services, we will take care of whatever issue they have. If they need to be taken out for groceries, or if they need a special place to park their car, or whatever it is, things come up, we'll handle it. But we do make great accommodation. This will be over shortly. It's a summertime activity, and we hope to be concluded in the next probably less than a month. As Marcy mentioned, Ridge Route continues. They're kind of doing they kind of did the brush clearing piece, and now they're going through and grabbing a few more trees, raising the canopy. There's still a little bit more work to be done over there. The Shepherd's Crooks, which is a security fencing, are in fabrication. So I think we're moving ahead aggressively there. Also, that same company is doing some of the fire break work for us, fuel modification along the west side of the community, and so they're doing some work over there as well. So residents, if you see, more likely here, because they're kind of down, I don't know if you'd see them or not, but you'd certainly hear the chainsaws and other equipment, grinders that are used to remove that flammable material from the edge of our community. And again, I think it's probably been maybe 7 years since any work's been done on these slopes. I mean, that's a long time. And so I applaud this board for taking that on. It's one of those things that it's easy to look away from and say, well, no one will notice it. Well, until there's a fire, then they'll notice it. So we're tackling the fire break, and then we're going to get on some of the other slopes as well and reduce the fuel there and improve their appearance as well. So I think it's a great effort, and again, I applaud you. We already talked about RV Lot A, and I apologize to Third residents for putting those RVs in the middle of your community. It'll only be a few days, and then we'll have them out of there. So thank you. You know, this building signage business has turned out to be pretty popular. I don't know what M&C will do with that ultimately, but we're getting a lot of calls. Where's my sign? So it happens, you know. So apparently people like those, and so and Marcy talked about the Telspar signs. We're gonna remove a lot of the signs that are placed in the landscaping. Wood post in concrete. When somebody breaks those, it takes a guy half a day to replace them. With a Telspar sign, it takes about 5 minutes. And so we'll slowly, as these things break, and where we have some that we can remove from the landscape, because it's in the landscape, well, now we've got to spray Roundup around it. And it's just unsightly. So we're going to clean that up. I did want to...
Question. Part of our building sign program was improving the cul-de-sac signage, and the cul-de-sac signage was going to go on some of these poles.
Yes.
So we're afraid now that you've moved them off of the grass onto the curb, that we're suddenly going to have like these big signs, and then people are going to like poke themselves on them, or they're not going to be able to get by. So that was part of our plan.
Yes,
so.
we should do, I know we're doing some demonstration work on that, and we can include this as well, and the board can have some choices to make there.
Because we don't want to say, oh, okay, now you have to move it back onto the grass. So
Right.
we're really worried about, because the cul-de-sac signage, say all of us here who probably have gotten lost at least 20, 30 times in here while you're looking for someone's home, the signage is really, that's really
Yes.
an important component, so.
We'll give you some things to look at, and then you can make some choices, and then we'll move forward. We won't do a bunch of work that you have to backtrack on.
Okay, thank you.
I can't have a meeting without repeating this. Please don't put bulky items out by the bins. And it has to happen. I mean, I can't tell you how much stuff we've had to remove the last few weeks. And so if you have bulky items in your manor, if you call resident services, they will make arrangements for waste management to come up to your unit and pick it up. Now, they don't like to walk through your unit and go to the back bedroom or something. They want it kind of near the front door so they can just grab it without being too far into your manor. So don't put it on the curb. You don't have to put it on the balcony, but just kind of get it, kind of close to the door there. And they usually do this on Wednesdays. So you need to be aware of that. But call resident services. They will arrange for Waste Management to come to your manor and pick those items up.
One of the challenges that we have is when people are when the new buyers move in and they don't understand things at all. And we said that we were going to put the trash rules, so to speak, about not putting paint cans and all of this other stuff out with the trash. Is that being done? Because we said we were going to attach it to their keys. So that's because just the other day, I saw a new resident moved into a building, and there next to the trash were paint cans, the lights, the tubes, and the trash company. What they do is, and you know this, is they don't pick it up. They move it from in front of one bin into next to the other bin, and then back and forth. So are we doing that? We're giving it to people?
We're working on the brochure that will be very aesthetically pleasing, and it will go to all new residents.
Okay, well, we have to, because it's one of the biggest things. They don't know how to handle the contractors. They don't know what to do with the trash because they're moving in. They want to throw away stuff that's in a unit. So it's really a key importance. But in the meanwhile, if I were to go outside and I were to see paint cans in front of my trash bin that I didn't put there, what should somebody
Call
do?
resident services.
Call resident services.
And we would send our team out to pick them up. It's an expensive way to handle that, and it's better if Waste Management goes right to the manor and picks the things up, because it takes us out of the loop. You're already paying for that service in your monthly trash bill, or the mutual is. And so now to replicate it with a second program is very inefficient and I think wasteful for our residents. And I make this promise. If residents stop putting that stuff out there, I'll eliminate the crew that does that and save them a couple of
And
bucks
have
every
them-
month.
Right, and have them go work in landscape.
They can work in landscape or, God, they can clean a pool, they can do any number of things that need to be done.
Okay, all right. Yes, Roy?
While we're talking about trash, my particular area was cited.
It's trashy.
It is. As a matter of fact, if anybody needs a queen-size bed and mattress, we've got at least one or two next to the dumpsters. But the other issue for us has been, and Brad, I'm sure you're aware of this, putting things into the recycling bins that should not be put in there. We get cited for that. I believe the association gets charged for that. Don't we get fined for putting stuff in those bins?
You can be charged. I think they've been a little lenient, but there's a point where
Yeah,
they've
there's a
tired of being
point.
lenient.
So we need to be concerned about both things.
I've asked Eileen to send something out in the blast about the recycling
Well-
program and how to do that. There's certain specific requirements of that.
Well, what was very sad is after you get your building tented and you have 9 million plastic bags, people didn't put them in recycling. So, it was, so that has to go in our letter too. I have to tell Eileen, please recycle these bags. The trash bin. But I thought we said one day we were going to try to have if you have an old paint can lying around, put it out day or something, because I think everybody has some, and they sort of say, well, I'm going to sneak it out, or I want to get rid of it, and we shouldn't. So can we?
The city has a very elaborate program, one that I would never offer as a city manager. It's too extensive. Usually, most cities offer like one Saturday a month or in the morning, you can drive out someplace, the corporate yard, and dump it off. Siobhan, can you describe what the city does here?
Actually,
Yeah, well, I think that would be great, because I have some paint cans, and I don't want to sneak them out because I don't want to get in trouble.
Good morning. Household hazardous waste program is part of your service from Waste Management. Comes with a city contract. It's just like all the other programs they offer. If we call or you call, they'll come pick those items up. So that's a door-to-door service that they offer.
It's almost like valet service, isn't it?
So they can call resident services, and instead of saying bulk item pickup, say household hazardous waste, and they'll come pick those items up.
You know, but what I was thinking is some of us feel like ridiculous calling for one paint can. So is that part of the Saturday, the bulky item on the third?
No.
In other words, a bulky item, they come out with a.
I
large
understand
trucks,
that.
and they're not prepared. for
So
those.
I think that what I was thinking is some people are reluctant to, as I am, to call because of one can or two cans. Maybe we should just organize a clean your closet hazardous waste day or something like that. So maybe it's something that, who would do that?
We could-
Siobhan? Oh, okay, that
No,
looks good.
we administer the solid waste contract through General Services, so we'll contact the city and ask them if we could do a group household hazardous waste.
Yeah,
roundup.
maybe, I think. Yeah,
It'd probably
I
be better
think
for
that-
waste management too, it'd probably save money.
Yeah,
The
so
challenge
that would
is,
be
is knowing where all those items are, so if people just put them out, the problem that waste management has, they can't go search the entire community. to find
Right,
that.
right.
Yeah, so-
Okay, so maybe we could give it a shot, see if it works. Okay, thank you, Bruce. All right, Kush, and then Jules. I see you, Jules.
They're taking up my 10 minutes,
And
by the way.
Steve.
We'll credit you some.
Are we
Yeah.
keeping Bruce here, or could we let Bruce sit down? We want to keep Bruce there, okay.
Yes. This is a fabulous program. I used to live in the LA County and I had to drive these things to a place which was like 15, 20 miles away. I've used both the bulky item and the paint and all kinds of stuff. They have a very elaborate system. They send you bags home. You put all your hazardous chemicals in it, you close it, and you keep it outside your door. That's it. If the paint can is empty, then you throw it in the garbage bin. That's what they recommend.
Well,
Only if it's empty and if it's dried out, and you can throw it open in the garbage bin.
we'll let Bruce put together a whole new
So
program.
I think if you put that thing together, it will be very helpful for everybody.
We'll see what the city will.
And I refuse to put something else in a plastic bag after the tenting. Okay, yes, Jules.
This may show my problems with my short-term memory, because I believe I asked you, Bruce, the last landscape meeting, there are many towns that allow you to put out paint cans as long as you mix the paint with something that essentially hardens it. We don't allow that. Is that right? Is that a chemical reason, or is there another reason why we don't do that?
Actually, what he's talking about is there's a hardener that you can put into paint and it solidifies it, and then you can throw it in the trash.
You can throw it in the
Sure,
trash.
If a homeowner wanted to go buy that product from a retail vendor
Oh.
like Home Depot, add it to the paint, it turns the paint solid, and then you can throw it in.
See, I
Thank you.
think
Is
there's,
the hardener a toxic substance?
I really don't know.
oh, goodness. Well, we
Well, it has
have
to be
the
solidified.
answer. The thing is there's so much we don't know. Okay, yes, Steve.
Yeah, I really like the idea of this day, clean out your closet thing, but with all of our good intentions and things like that, I think we overlook one thing, and I see it in my area, and that's we need to let the people in the specific clubs that have people that don't speak English, we've got to get the word to them to be part of this community. And whatever it takes, the Chinese club, the Korean club, and all like this, they just feel left out, and I see them traipsing out, even with paint cans, and setting them even out, on the curb. They don't know any better. So we've got to get something to them, and they're part of our residents too, so.
And Eileen just stepped into the room, so she's here to help Bruce right away.
Yeah.
Yes, James.
Oh, I'm changing subject.
So could Bruce go sit down now?
Yeah, he can
Thank you,
sit
Bruce.
down now.
Thank you, Bruce.
But this is a question for Brad, because starting a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, I want to do the massive turf reduction. But so far, we have not done too much simply because we don't have a manpower. So now, Brad, we want you to open up the agreement with union so that we are allowed to hire the contractor to do more massive work. We set aside the budget for next year, and we are actively engaging with consulting to give us a proposal or we look into the plan to change, to reduce the turf. But then we don't want to facing the same situation next year. There's no manpower to do it.
Right. Well, I mean, you have
Thank you, James.
two
All
big contracts that are underway right now that the union agreed to, and they've been pretty much authorized just about everything I've asked them to let us contract. And so I don't think that's going to be a problem. I do have to point out, though, and this is what everybody doesn't like to hear, taking out the turf without redoing the irrigation is not helpful. You have to redo the irrigation. And so your water savings, I mean, your ROI on that is going to be a lot less than what you think, because the irrigation is the most expensive piece of the thing. And so we just have to be mindful of that. That's why I had suggested that we look at areas first where grass won't grow, and we keep reseeding it and pouring the water on it, and it's under a 50-year-old ficus, it's not going to grow. Stop doing that, and let's get rid of that first, because we're wasting a lot of manpower trying to grow something where it doesn't want to grow.
We don't want to tell you this, but you're in charge.
I know.
All right, good.
Well, I know, I got to work with the committee.
You know, I got upset so many times.
I know.
They say, oh, we're reseeding the grass.
No.
Oh, gosh.
It doesn't work. I just want to hit a couple more things that I think are good stories for the community. We're just about done with all the gate remodels, right? We spent about 200 grand on 8 of those remodels.
As opposed to
As
8 million.
Gate 7 was over $1 million. So we easily would have spent $5 million replacing all those.
I think
So,
8.
Yeah, I think 8's probably closer. And so we've just saved a boatload of money, and those gates are, I think they're actually more aesthetic than some of the other ones. They have a kind of charm and
Because they were
historic.
too big. They were like, we were going to rent
Monoliths.
we were going to rent them out for events.
That's
how big
one,
they
that
are,
one at
or-
Gate
or rent
7
a room.
is a rentable space, by the way.
Right.
And so I think that's a good story. And then the arms, they are, boy, now you got me going. Of
Well,
yours, it would be
14.
14, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah.
So all you have to do is fix the landscape up around them, and
Why
they'll
not
really
7?
look good.
7 was rebuilt for about
No,
$1
no,
million.
the arms.
Oh, that's good. That's gonna get, he asked which ones we'd redone.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So the gate arms will be coming shortly on 10 and 11. There's 11 has a lot of turf landscaping outside the gate. That will all be removed and be converted to drought tolerant. So that's happening as well as 10 as well. So we're going through and all the gates and entries and stuff. And there is a little bit of salesmanship, you know, when you change the way the communities looked for a while, people get a little excited because they're used to all the turf and the green. And so I know when we first did Gate 5 and 6, you know, I got a lot of emails, you know, you're ruining our community sort of thing. I just blame John Parker, so it worked fine for me. But nonetheless, hope he's not listening. They've gotten used to it. People get used to it. And I think they've gotten used to, we changed Gate 7 a couple years ago with a lot of succulents. And that was all planted straight clippings. And look how nice it turned out. They do plant very easily, and they take off nicely. So I think that's a positive, and we'll continue.
Excuse me, you were going to do, and I did see it, at Clubhouse 7, some of the landscaping was changed, modified to
Yes.
be more drought resistant. Because we were going to do areas like that so residents would get used to seeing it and
Yes.
seeing how attractive it is. And we were supposed, and I don't know if we're letting people know, come and check out the new landscape at such and such. We were supposed to be doing that, so I think that was, so you did it, and I said, wow, this looks really nice. So changing it and letting people know, come look at it, because this is the future, or part of the future, would be a good idea if we could do that. Yes, Jules?
Just briefly, I was very happy to see at our last landscape meeting when we started talking about turf conversion, and I started slinking down in my seat. There were about 4 or 5 people that actually got up and, you know, were vigorously in favor of it, and nobody said a word to the contrary. I was very, very, happy to see that.
Okay.
Well, please stay. I will show more slides today in our landscape report to show the non-grass landscape.
All right, go ahead, Brad. Your 10 minutes is up.
I know,
We'll let you go.
I'm just going to hit these very quickly. I think, you know, I was fortunate that right after I got here, our West Coast internet contract came up for renewal, and so I was able to sit down and negotiate some pretty good provisions that you're now starting to see. And one of them was to provide 4,000 DOCSIS 3 modems free of charge to all our residents. And so they've provided thus far, they have to be done by 2019, 3,000 free modems for our residents so they can get higher speed internet. The other thing was they had to upgrade the system to provide more capacity, primarily by upgrading our CMTS system. And so that has been complete now. And so we are now have gone from an 8 gig network system to an 80 gig. And so literally everybody in the village can watch Netflix at the same time without all that tiling and reshaping that you see going on. And so there's still some bugs to work out there, but you have a lot of capacity. This doesn't affect your internet speed, just the number of devices you can put on that simultaneously. So, you know, when we first built this system, it was for 1,000 users who had a desktop. That's it. Well, now they got a phone, their alarm system, you know, their iPad, their desktop, TV, everything is connected now. I mean, a connected household would have 5, 6, 7, 8 items on there. And so to accommodate that moving forward, we need this capacity. And so it's a huge, huge benefit to the community, and it didn't cost a dime.
We're still having some outages as part of this?
Yes.
And-
Yes,
And
you
how
are.
long will that go on?
It'll go on for a while.
Oh,
Let me tell you.
that's a good answer.
Thank you.
Yeah, here's the other thing that's going on is our guide that was on the TV that helped you find the channels was 9 versions behind, 15 years. And so no one ever wanted to upgrade it because of the pain that it causes, because there are a certain percentage of the units, either the box or the remote or the TV, that will flame out when you do the upgrade. And sure enough, we're so far behind, we couldn't jump to the latest version. We had to go from version 25 to 29. And then in a week or so, we're going to go from 29 to 32. So we get to torture you twice. But there's no other way to do it. We just
And
can't.
what is the goal? Don't say 100.
The goal is, that's 32 is the goal.
Oh,
That's
all right.
it. So that gets us up to snuff. And you're going to have the latest, greatest, state-of-the-art guide. It is digital. It is unbelievable what this will do. Residents are going to love it. So that only works, though, if you have a box or a DVR or some sort of device. What about those folks who just choose to plug right into the TV? Right now, they're stuck with the scrolling guide, which will absolutely drive you crazy if you try to look at that thing. So please, close your eyes when on channel 3. It will drive you crazy. But we've got a solution. So I've had Chuck hook us up with tvguide.com. And you can, on your smartphone or whatever, you log on and put the zip code in, and it gives you a TV guide for Laguna Woods Village cable system that you can just scroll yourself without having to look at that thing. We're trying to help everybody. It's not just for the elite power users, it's for every resident. We want you all to have a good cable TV experience. So
Are you going to, is somebody going to publicize this?
well, Chuck's been
tvguide.com?
talking about it. We've been setting out. We're going to send a blast out. We're getting it out there. And I just have one or two more things, really dealing with what's going on here with resident services and manor alterations. Our new kiosk is going to get here next week. The one that's been out here on the desk is just sort of an iPad attached there as a demo, a pilot, and it's worked amazingly well. You know, residents love not waiting in line. They like being called by their first name. And it also allows the supervisors there to manage staff resources because they know what all the wait times are. They know exactly how long everybody's at the counter being served. So we have all these, call center and customer service folks, they're all about the numbers. Chris, there she is. Yeah, oh boy. If I ask her to do one more thing down there that adds 10 seconds to a phone call, I mean, she runs me out of her office. So it's all about the time, it's all about the metrics, and this provides a huge amount of metrics that she can use to manage the workflow coming through, just much like all of our phone call data that we have, which is very elaborate, and she uses all that to do staffing assignments and to manage workflow and processes, and it's really a huge, huge upgrade. It's the kind of thing that you always wanted but could never get out of the last company that was here. We can tell you just about anything you want to know about a resident who steps through those doors. And so, Chris, I applaud you. The kiosk will be here shortly. And then lastly is, second to last, manor alterations. You can see the work going on over there. The furniture arrives, I think, is the 6th maybe. And so they'll be moving out of resident services, provide some needed space there, and over to this separate location where there'll be private rooms to sit down and lay out plans. You can make an appointment. You can get language assistance if you need it. A lot of things, put a decal on a car. If you don't speak real good English, we can usually figure that out. But to try to explain the asbestos remediation process to somebody who doesn't speak English is a little tricky. We can't work that out. And so having these language services is going to be very beneficial, and also the appointments. You never know how long a manor alterations interaction is going to be. Could be a simple thing that takes a minute, could take 30 minutes. Meanwhile, somebody's behind you in line there, and they're not too happy. And so now we'll be able to have more folks over there and the ability to make appointments for these rather lengthy, if you're bringing in an architect or an engineer or something. We're not going to do that at the counter. We're going to sit down, throw the plans out, and have a conversation on an appointment basis.
Say, Brad, is this information that we've got on all the residents, is it secure from being hacked?
Yes. I mean, we've never been hacked. We have a very kind of an offline system here in
So
Stellar.
no hacker would even know.
I don't even think they could get to us.
It's like, it's 1950s technology.
Yeah,
You don't know how to do that anymore.
Well, Stellar is programmed in 3 different languages, and 2 of them are extinct.
Oh, it's pre-1950, right.
Actually, I like you. I took BASIC and COBOL and Fortran in school. You and I may be the only 2 that can work on this thing. I don't know. There's just we're very secure. And then lastly,
He's concerned with the Russians getting involved in our.
Well, let's not go there.
I think we're safe. And then lastly, I just wanted to let people know, we're doing a special edition of This Day next Wednesday at 8:30, and I'm going to take about 30 minutes. I'm going to talk about the budget and where we've been and the things that we want to do with those resources. I want to talk about some of the things we've done. There's been so many great stories here of things that were just worn out and broken and in need of updating, upgrading, new software, a version or 2 or 8 or 10. All those things, I want to talk about that. And then I want to finish up talking about transit and landscape and what's going on there. People don't understand. We've got a bus system, or had a bus system for decades. It was designed to handle 1 million people, or 1 million rides, excuse me. And we're only running less than 200,000 rides. Not very efficient, doesn't make a lot of sense. Using a 24-seat diesel bus to take 1 person to a doctor's appointment doesn't make any sense. We should stop that. And so we're getting a lot of pushback on that. There's a lot of really good reasons why we're doing these things. And I'm going to share that with residents. Now, they won't agree. Many of them, you get used to what you're used to. Doesn't mean that we should continue to run this very inefficient system. And then lastly, I want to talk about landscaping, and mainly our turf, because I think there's a lot of misperception about that. These are the same people, the same supervisors using the same equipment that have been doing this for 20 years. I've got all the data on how long they've been here. Why all of a sudden are they having problems? Did they forget how to mow grass? I don't think that's what happened. You don't have the same grass you used to have. It's a different grass. It doesn't mulch well. It doesn't chemically spray very well. It has to be verticutted and thatched and aerated and a lot of things that we've never had to do here before. It's a totally different game, and we've got to explain that, and then we've got to start doing it. And there's going to be some new equipment involved and some money involved, but it's going to be a big difference. And if James has his way, we'll have less grass to take care of. I'm with you. So anyway, I think it's going to be a great show. Please join me 8:30 next Wednesday, not tomorrow, next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow. And you'll hear me chat about a lot of those things with Ken.
When you do your, and I know Steve wants to say something, when you do your presentation on the buses, transportation, could you please remind everyone how much we pay per man or per month to have the buses ride around? Because we see the empty buses and people get upset. We hear the 100 or so people who are complaining, but people don't understand how much we are paying, every resident is paying to have the buses run, that we could be spending that money, because we pay that money to GRF, we could have that money to be improving our landscape. We're paying for the non-chemicals or that we need. So I think we have to keep reminding people of that. Another thing then Steve wants to say something. Does anybody have information on when the candidate profiles are run on the air?
I have that right here.
Because we talked about Meet the Candidates. We published that, but we don't talk about that part. And you don't have to tell me now, but if somebody could let us know while we're on the air, I think that would be a great thing. Okay, yes, Steve?
Yeah, Brad, on your, this day, next Wednesday, I would really like to see us run an ad in the Globe and do some trailers or crawlers, I guess I call them, to point people to that, because people don't understand all the infrastructure and stuff we've been spending money on.
Yes.
But we need to focus them into something like that.
I think the best way to reach that group that doesn't watch Village Television is through the e-blast.
Yeah, the e-blast too.
The residents who typically watch that will also see the crawl, and they're dialed in, but it's the not your typical viewer that we need to reach.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is, just one other thing. I want to thank you for handling the hot days for movies and refreshments. My wife and I went over, took advantage of that, and a lot of people did. That was great. That was great. We had no air conditioning, and it worked out perfect.
No, it was really great. The reception from residents has been very, very good, and if it heats up again or we have problems with Edison, which is probably a high probability, that we'll fire it up again, because it's a good way to take a little pressure off residents and take a little pressure off the grid on a hot day.
Okay, so thank you very,
Let me know.
thank you very much, Brad. So now we are up to, and it is 11:18, I could see. So we have to do the consent calendar. So I have a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I so move.
Second? All those in favor?
Comment? I'd like to advise the member at 3138C that the item 12D will be your discussion item. It has been removed from the consent calendar.
Okay, so all those in favor? Okay, so that has passed. Okay, so unfinished business. I'm going to turn this over to you, Bert.
Thank you. So we're up to 12A. And that is the payment plan. And we've modified the payment plan. And it's on page 1, it's 12A, page 1 of 4 in your agenda. And essentially what we're doing now is where, as an effort to encourage people to keep up with their assessments, at the board's discretion, we can have a payment plan with the owner, but we're initiating a monthly charge for interest at the rate of 10% per year and introducing an administrative fee of $25 per month. I have to make sure where we are on that, and it's not in 30 days. Oh, yes, so this has already been, was announced at our last monthly meeting, so it's at the end of the 30-day period. So I move adoption of this new resolution.
Second.
And this is a payment plan for assessments, and it's primarily for people, residents, owners, who get behind on their assessments, and they say, wait a minute, I want to pay, I want to figure out a plan. You will be introducing a payment plan for other charges, but that'll be coming at another meeting. Okay, I just wanted to have that clear.
Fine, thank you.
All those in favor? Do we have to vote?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, next.
Okay, next up on the list is 12B, agenda item 12B, page 1 of 2, and that is revision to the Energy Task Force Charter. We talked about this last month, too.
So there was a slight correction?
Yes, so there was some correction, not many.
So does it have to go on 30-day again?
No, I
Okay.
do not think so. It does not indicate.
Because it was editorial more, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So what they have done is indicate maybe I should just explain what this group is now. Essentially, GRF and the two mutuals, that's United and Third, have formed a overall energy task force, which will look at our energy needs for the individual mutuals, but through a consultant. And each of the mutuals has signed a separate contract with the consultant. And as one of the members have pointed out during the open session, we want to have an energy strategy where we try to cope with rising energy costs, trying to reduce energy consumption, and become more aware of the changing technology. So this task force has already been formed. It's met once under Bill's leadership. So I move this revision.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, next.
Next up is the financial qualification. This is a guideline for financial qualifications. This is in the 30-day period too, I believe. So the main point on this, and this is 12C, page 1 of 22. The main point in this resolution is to refine and upgrade the needs or the needs for becoming a guarantor. If a resident or a potential owner does not have enough money to meet our financial qualifications, which is outlined in great detail in this resolution, then he can, again at the discretion of the board, use a guarantor who essentially is guaranteeing the payment of the assessments. So this is indicated on this, and there are conditions where the board may actually withhold in approving this. I think I should point out what the main differences have been in our project. One of the things is now we want the guarantor actually to have a residence in California and to have a bank in California. And you can only be a guarantor for one resident in this community. And there are certain net worths and income that the guarantor must have. And that's indicated in this resolution. There's been a scrivener's correction, as soon as I find it.
All right, while you're looking, the primary reason why we updated this is because some people, in order to qualify, need a guarantor, but it is in the best interest of the financial solvency of the community to have a guarantor that, let's start with being in the country, being in the state, having enough income to be able to guarantee what they're being asked to guarantee. And also, there are some people who try to do businesses as guarantors, I know of. And then if the people can't do it, then they want to take over their units. So that's why we say you can't be for multiple units. So the entire thing, while you're looking, is done to protect the community. We want to protect the community from having us to have to write off assessments, which unfortunately we do. And it's just really a protection thing. So, so have I talked enough and now you're ready?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
ready. I also want to point out that we've had a situation where a resident would be a guarantor for another manor, and he himself was had a guarantor for his manor. So we had these kind of crazy cross situations, and this would take care of that too. So what we want to do is change on 12C, would be page 4 of 22. Under C, we're changing the last actually phrase, which it says unless suspended by an owner in the mutual, which was somewhat confusing, and we're saying that, it's a long sentence, essentially we're saying that instead of right after rights, instead of applicable, we're saying held by an owner in the mutual unless such rights are suspended by the board of directors. So that is the change, and it's just clarifying the language and what we want. So I move this resolution.
Second?
Second.
Well, I hope you got one of them, Cheryl. All those in favor? All right. Next item is, all right.
Next one.
The next item, what? The
Go ahead.
next item was an addition to the agenda, which has to do with 3138C Via Vista. Is that correct, Mr. Frankel? And is the resident here?
Yes, the resident is here.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank
Name
you for
and
your
manner.
volunteer service. Judith Hurst, 3138C. And this is on the consent calendar.
And we moved it off. We moved it off the consent
To give me the
calendar.
opportunity to make some comments.
Yes.
So on the back side of your first page of the agenda, it talks about the unit, and I had asked for I had gone before the landscape committee and asked for the ficus tree to be removed. They call it a weeping willow, but it's actually a ficus as well. Because it created damage to my manor, my patio. And in speaking with the landscape committee, and Bruce Hartley in particular, the landscape committee came to my residence, they looked, and they decided that what they would do, as it's stated here, and is putting the root guard, trenching and putting a root guard around the walls of the patio. My concern and why I am here is because when you get to the resolution, and also on this page, down below, let's see,
On the resolution, it's agenda item 11A, page 1 of 2. Although there is a reference to 3166D with a little more explanation to it, on mine, on 3138C, it only says denied removal of the tree. It doesn't say anything about the root guard and the trenching. And I would ask, when you get to that place, would you please put that in the actual resolution for that item? Because otherwise, it just looks like, I've been to the landscape committee, and Mr. Hartley said that just because it's listed on that same page, and Mr. Baum also said that to me as well. But I don't understand why in one case you put the detail in, but in mine you put no detail. And I would like to be treated the same way.
Okay, so,
I think that,
what?
I think it actually is part of the same resolution. As I look at it on page 1 of 2, the second whereas, in the second part of that, it says, denied the request to remove one weeping fig tree. And then it says, in an effort to preserve the tree and protect private property, direct staff to root prune and install 18-inch deep root barriers around the perimeter of the patio within 60 days. That is still part of the resolution, and I think it spells out exactly
Okay.
what we promised.
If you go on record here, that that's the way you want to do it, but down at the very bottom paragraph, it says, now therefore it be resolved. To me, that's where you vote on the motion.
We
And-
vote on the motion with everything that's contained in the motion.
Yellow page.
I mean, everything that's contained in it, we just don't, we vote on all of the whereases as part of our
As
voting.
part of the motion,
Yes,
because
yes.
down at the bottom, as I say, 3166B talks about off-schedule
Okay,
things,
so
but it
I-
doesn't say anything special about mine either. So if you say that it does, that's fine, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
have a question. The question is, are we paying for the root thing and all that other stuff? There's no charge to the resident, is that correct?
Right.
Okay,
Is that
no,
right,
because
Bruce?
Yes.
Yeah, I would want that listed if I were you.
Pardon?
I would want that listed, that
Okay,
it's.
I mean, that was my understanding.
Yeah, no, and I mean.
But you're right, it
being that
doesn't
I'm
say
cheap,
that. Thank you.
I would want that listed. So we'll make sure that that's included too, at no charge to the resident.
Thank you so much.
All right, so now that we have that,
We
we
have
just
to
put
move.
that in, because we had that in here. So then we have this, we heard the resident, we're going to make sure that it says no charge to the resident. So now we need a motion and we have to vote on it. Is that correct,
Yes,
John?
I move.
Second.
Well, but normally the trench,
I'll
we
make a
never
motion
charge
as-
the rest.
I'm just.
Trenching.
That's true. We normally don't, but you never know. I just wanted to put it in there to be sure.
Sure.
Okay, all right. All those in favor? All right, we're done. We're good. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, resident. You're taken care of. All right? All right, so now E on the agenda had to do with the resolution having to do with the washer and dryer installation that was neglected to put on here, and it was on 30 days. So, so now we are going to, do we have a motion? We need a motion. No, we don't need a motion, not yet. We're going, well, we need a motion if we want to extend the 30 days, and that's what you wanted to do. Well, but we could only table it for 30 days, forever. So basically, what we're saying is although this is up on 30 days, other information has been brought forward, so we need to discuss this further, so we're asking for another 30 days. Is that correct?
Yeah, is that the motion?
Well,
Yeah. I make a motion that we extend this item for 30 days on the washers and dryers.
Does that suffice, Ms. Foster? Okay.
Further discussion.
Have a
Okay,
second?
Second. So, all right, so, and it isn't more discussion here, it's to review other facts, so it could be presented more clearly. Is that correct?
and potential contract ramifications.
Whatever. Okay, in any case, all those in favor of us having 30 more days to look at this? All right, we'll be in your office, Kurt. All of us. No, all right, good. Isn't that exciting? All right. So the next thing on new business is, are we okay? We did D and E.
That's correct.
So now we're up to new business, 13A.
Yes.
What about the traffic?
And 13A is the common area use policy.
That's B. Traffic is B. All right, so common area use policy, all right, so we need a motion?
Well, I just wanted to make a couple of corrections in this, or to indicate where the changes are. Bill's asked me to do this, what the important thing is. And what we're trying to do here is, first of all, in the first paragraph, make the history correct. So it says, whereas Third Laguna Hills Mutual is a corporate homeowners association that was formed in 1970, by 1984 had acquired the assets and liabilities by vote of each of the 59 individual mutuals within the larger Leisure World, now Laguna Woods Village, Common Interest Development, with full authority to manage, operate, and maintain them. By 1988, each of the 59 mutuals had agreed by vote of each mutual memberships to adopt the same amended CCNRs. So everyone in Third is living under the same CCNRs. So I want to read, also indicate that the board, within its limits of its current authority, hereby, and this is on page 10 of 15, hereby grandfathers any existing alteration to any of the manors located within the original condominium projects or to the area immediately adjacent to that manor, which have been previously approved by this board. Essentially, that's the grandfathering. And and further on it says, such grandfathering does not remove the obligation of the member owner of a non-compliant alteration to a manor to correct such non-compliance in the event of a sale or transfer of their manor, but merely means that such non-conformance will not be actively pursued by the mutual. So, and also I want to point out in the next paragraph, it says, be it resolved further that no further alteration may be approved or constructed on any previously approved or grandfathered alteration that encroaches upon common area only than like for like, that augments, enlarges, or changes the construction, purpose, or use of the alteration. So what we're saying is that if you were previously, or whoever the owner was of the manor was previously granted an alteration, and you want to build on that alteration in the same manner, that is okay. But if you want to enlarge or change it, it's not under this proposal.
So,
You want to take a motion then?
right, okay, so we have, so is this has to be on 30 days, so we don't need a
No,
motion?
we can discuss the wording, but we will vote on it next.
In 30 days, okay,
Yes.
so we could discuss the wording. All right, so now, are you finished?
Yes,
So,
You so moved.
I move.
I move that we could discuss it. Okay,
We
so
have a second?
Madam President,
we're not voting.
you have
We're
a
not gonna
request to
vote?
speak on this item.
We
A
can speak
request
on
to
it.
speak on this item? Okay, well, let's finish, the board is allowed to speak on the item first. So, okay, so,
I'll add to that, particularly last paragraph. Be it resolved further that no further alteration may be approved or constructed on any previous approved or grandfathered alteration that encroaches upon common area other than like for like.
So in.
That augments, like for like, that augments, enlarges, or changes the construction, purpose, or use of the alteration, which means if a past board 20 years ago let you extend your patio by 100 square feet, maybe, whatever, and then you put a patio cover on it, just a roof with, and it's an open patio. And a new buyer comes in and they decide that, boy, it would be nice just to enclose that patio for extra space in my manor and make it, a fixed room. That's repurposing it from its original purpose, which is just a patio with a patio cover. And at that point, we would go to the manor owner and say, we're not going to deny if you want to put a room on there, but you cannot put it out over any of the common area that was granted previously. You can only do it on the original footprint of the manor, and therefore that common area can't be used to be enclosed.
So in
Does that
other
make
words,
sense?
if you want to improve the way it looks and you want to put a new patio cover on it, or you want to put a new little fence, whatever, gate around, whatever, that's okay. But to suddenly say my room that was once 20 square feet and I got it made to 50 square feet, now I want to make a room on the 50 square feet, we're not allowing repurposing of things that were granted. We're not running around the community and taking things back because we're not going to do that. But we won't permit repurposing because the basic thing is that some of the common area granting was very loosey-goosey, and it's just not fair to all of the residents to suddenly now you would be looking outside and you'd be seeing like a big room outside. So that's what the purpose of this is, and that's why we had to edit it to make sure that that was clear.
I just want to make another point because this has come up before. All the owners in this third mutual own part of all the common area. So if we allow someone to have an alteration in the common area, we are essentially taking that away from all the residents. And that is one of the guiding lights that we've been operating by.
Thank you. Kush, did you have something or no?
I just wanted to make sure that people understand that we are only talking of common area alterations and not any alterations that they have all had in the house, inside the house.
Correct.
And
And we're not talking about original footprints,
Policy is
right?
mainly about the outside of the
Correct.
common area.
Yes, good point, thank you. All right, yes, John?
I'd like to extend that like-for-like paragraph to say that it's the definition or the meaning of like-for-like shall be reviewed by staff, subject to the final determination by the Architectural Review Committee. And the reason I feel that is that, let's say you've got a patio slab with no cover and you're sitting out there and you're just tired of the sun, you want to put a cover on it. In my opinion, that doesn't change, it meets the like-for-like. And so I would like to have staff and ultimately the Architectural Review Committee get involved in that. So I'd like to see something.
So our next architectural committee is next Monday morning at 9:30. And we should bring that there to the committee and work on having it, because this is our 30 days. This is our 30 days for input by the residents as well as the board,
Good.
right? Is
Thank
that
you.
correct, Bill?
Sure, and we'll make sure it gets on the agenda, right, Kurt? Okay, thank you.
All right, and so are we finished with?
Yes.
So now we have a resident who wants to speak to this. We want to speak to a motion having to do with common area use policy, construction. Ms. Worthington, if this has to do with the matter of the statues, does this have to do with the matter of the statues?
This has,
Because if it has to do with the matter of the statues, We have already heard that at the board.
No, this is a
This
di-
is
this-
something totally different.
This is something
Okay,
different.
then go for it.
I am Janelle Worthington, living at 3280 San Amadeo. I am here urging the board to ensure that any language written into any bylaw change provides for the resident usage of all locations of our breezeway within the legal limits. Why limit an area that brings pleasure to residents' life? In a survey had been conducted at the last board meeting, suggested by one of the members, you would have found that there was overwhelming evidence saying that people wanted such usage. I made such a survey, and I'm here today to submit a petition signed by owners of Casablanca condos. Renter signatures are not accepted, so I would have had more. The essence of the petition is a request for any revision of care and maintenance patios, breezeways, common areas as being discussed today, Resolution 03-16-117, be written to allow residents to be able to place items within the middle of the breezeway.
I'm
Whereas-
sorry, you are going back to an item that was discussed.
This,
and-
I'm told I have to come to the common area. There is revision on the board about the common area usage. If you are going to be changing the language of common area usage, we want to have the input. And I have
Okay,
to-
so we just said that we brought common area usage to the board, and we had, within the next 30 days, we are going to take input from the board members and from the residents. So please come to the architectural review meeting on Monday at 9:30, where you can make your comments.
Okay, is that when because I have petitions requesting for this change to make sure that the words of all the common areas.
Yes, we would, and Bill is in charge of that meeting, so and you could give it to us ahead of time if you want, but it'll be on Monday morning at 9:30.
Okay, well, it was my understanding that I was to respond to common area today, according to.
Common area today, we brought out, then we have 30 days to review it. And the process is we bring it out, we tell everybody that this is an item up for discussion, and we bring it then to the committee, and then we would make any revisions or changes, vote on it at the committee level, and then it'll come back to the board at the end of 30 days. So it's the 30-day period that allows for input.
Okay, so the 30-day period you're telling me does not start today.
Started today.
Okay, today. This is when I want to start putting the input in. If it's on the, I am really confused, and you're using up my 33
Well,
minutes.
no, we'll give you another 2 minutes, but the thing is that generally, when we bring something up at the board meeting and we say this is going to be discussed, then the first thing it does is it goes to, if people want to give any input, it generally goes to the committee. So it has some we don't usually start discussing it at this table, but it.
Yeah.
Okay. then
Next Monday.
I'll meet with you, Steve, later?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is entertain a motion to revise the traffic rules and regulations.
Yes.
Okay, so before you start, I have a real problem with this. So,
It's been revised.
the challenge that I have is that in 2014, when this was changed, we never said that GRF vehicles could park wherever they wanted. Because in technicality, there is no such thing except for the police vehicles that's a GRF vehicle. It's a maintenance vehicle, it's a landscape vehicle. They're not labeled as GRF vehicles. They're departmental vehicles. So it was basically understood that when we discussed that in 2014 and voted on it, that we said that vehicles used by staff could only park in resident areas to load and unload. How this resolution suddenly morphed into saying that GRF vehicles, of which I don't know, and I was on the board then, are allowed to park there that would be security to me. So the basic thing is all we want this parking thing to say is that staff vehicles are not allowed to park in resident parking, and that, but except to load, unload, or if there's an emergency. I mean, if there's plumbing leak, there's a fire, we don't expect them to go look for a parking space. But we also don't want 3 landscape vehicles or the employees, I'm not going to pick on it, being parked there. That's what it's supposed to say. And that's what it said in 2014. I don't know how that little line got on there. So that is what we basically are going after, which makes total sense to us. If we don't allow contractors to park in front of the residents, we certainly shouldn't have our vehicles there. So that is my little thing before we start. So go ahead, Bert.
Well, the only thing that's changed in this,
Well, because it says GRF-owned vehicles.
well,
What is?
that's out.
That's out.
Okay, so I can read the whole thing, it's only a few sentences.
Well, it doesn't say where there is an exception to the rule that allows GRF-owned vehicles. That was never, well, or whatever. Not true.
Okay, well, it's not there anymore. So what it says is, contractor and service vehicles, including personal vehicles driven by workers, must be parked on named streets and are prohibited from parking within numbered cul-de-sacs or manor parking lots. Contractors may park on a sponsoring resident's driveway with the resident's permission, but may not obstruct the sidewalk, exception. Vehicles, equipment, and materials immediately and directly required for the performance of work. And the second is vehicles immediately loading or unloading. And there's no more reference to GRF. So this is all essentially vehicles. So I move.
So does that have to be on 30 days? Yes?
Doesn't say that. No.
Okay, yeah, we're open for discussion, so you so moved, we could discuss.
We have a second. We need a second.
Okay, you want to second it? Sure. Okay, then we could discuss it.
Barring anybody else want to talk. I think there are certain considerations and situations that need to be taken into consideration, such as the wedding cake area, even my own cul-de-sac, which goes for close to a quarter of a mile before you get out to a numbered street or a regular street. It's very difficult for these people to even pull up, unload, and all like that, because sometimes they're running back and forth for tools, and they can't necessarily set up shop out on the turf, okay? When somebody's trying to do tile, I mean, they have a lot of stuff out there on the grass, okay? And it's hard to bring things in, take them out, and so forth, as well as the supplies they have to deal with. You'd have to take the tile out, which takes 2 or 3 people to do, and set it on the grass and this kind of stuff. So I think there are certain considerations, like even where Director Greenhouse lives, that need to be taken care of in a maybe a slightly different manner. So I'll let him address the area over there and then the wedding cake too.
So, excuse me, but what are you suggesting? First of all, we could put this on 30 days, but the worst thing that we want to have is there's no parking in resident or in visitor space except for on, you know, Kumquat Street and Avenue N. When we can't have a whole list of exceptions.
Well,
So
you gotta-
I'm not sure as to how to do it.
Yeah.
So if we want to have this on 30 days. so
I'd rather
we
have it on
can-
30 days
so-
for a
and
good
then-
look.
All right, so
Yeah.
Siobhan, can we, all right, so we can discuss it and come up with more information. All right,
Which committee?
which committee is this?
That's the parking task force.
Parking.
Yeah.
All right, so Siobhan, could you make sure that we, thank you. All right.
We have a motion that says that.
No, the basic thing is we just want to put this on 30 days. So it says a motion, so we want to put it on 30 days. When 30 days, we have 30 days to come up with the parking committee with how we want this to read at our next meeting. Yes, Jules?
Are we wasting our time, or is this a character-building exercise to expect staff to give tickets to staff vehicles?
No, that has nothing to do with anything. So we would be wasting our time if you were here years ago and there would be 5 staff vehicles parked out in 6 spaces. That would be wasting our time watching all of the senior citizens trudge down the hill to park their car. So that's what we're trying. So we're not talking about ticketing. We're just trying to make this fair. And as far as I know, most of the staff doesn't park in the spaces anyway. It's been a practice for a long time, so I don't understand this whole thing. So no, we're not trying to make it an exercise.
Thank you.
John, it's going to go to your committee, so you can keep all your ideas to the chairing the committee. You're in charge.
So you're suggesting then that if, I want to make sure that our vehicles and their equipment trailers are able to get into every cul-de-sac as required. You're suggesting that I call a meeting of the parking task force to put that into the?
No, we're suggesting, the board is suggesting that they want to add some stuff to this. So we're suggesting that you call a meeting of the parking committee and those interested, like Steve, and I'm asking
And me.
Siobhan to do it, and you, obviously, and those interested, come up with the things that they think would make this workable. That's what we're asking.
Madam President, having seconded, I need a
You
few
missed your chance to talk.
I never miss my chance to talk. I would like to also request that Bruce and Ernesto attend the meeting, Siobhan, of the Parking Committee. I have grave concerns about parking policy, period. We try to make one size fit all, and as Steve has pointed out, probably one of the few board members who's actually visited my cul-de-sac and the wedding cake. I call my cul-de-sac the mini wedding cake because we only have one concentric ring.
Okay.
There are a lot of problems with
Okay.
not only the policy for staff, but also for contractors.
And the reason why I asked Siobhan to attend?
Yes.
is Siobhan is the second in command of this company, of EMS, and she, if she wants to, can represent the interests of security, Bruce and Ernesto. So we just have to make sure that we have a staff representative who will make sure that we do,
That's
that
fine.
we try to do the right thing. So
That's
that's
fine.
why I'm asking her. Okay.
That's fine.
Can we move on?
While we are talking about parking, and since we are so short, several cul-de-sacs have a lot of grassy areas that can be
Okay,
used.
we have to bring that to the parking committee.
So I'm just suggesting they think about that at that time.
We have to take that to the parking committee.
Yes.
All right. You better have a meeting soon, John. Please. All right.
Within 30 days.
Well, not 29 days. That isn't going to work. Siobhan will make sure that you have the meeting because she is in
It's too bad you
charge.
don't know what a salute is, but it means yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda is,
Non-emergency chargeable maintenance services. Excuse me. This was something that we've been talking about a long
years.
time. And what we've done now is expand the list so that people can get more chargeable services from maintenance. This is under, as it says, a non-emergency basis. Chargeable services are provided at no cost to the mutual, that's us. But labor is prorated to the 10th of an hour and applied at the current billing rate for the relevant division. Materials are passed through at cost. and a flat rate of $25 service charge is applied. And this is agenda item 13C. If you look at page 3 of 6,
It's incorrect.
it lists all the proposed, there's a table in there. It lists all the proposed non-emergency chargeable maintenance service. And we've gone to it's gone through the M&C committee, and all the board members have looked at it. And so we've added quite a few services that we didn't before. For instance, you can repair and replace faucets. We've always had low-flow toilet replacement, but we're talking about a range of services ranging from mailbox lock service, which is a bargain at about $42, all the way up to water heater replacement, which would cost you $1,721. Most of them are not that high. So they really range in something like the $60 to $200 range. And so residents would have an opportunity to look at this list and call resident services to have this service done. But the service has to be scheduled, and it may take a longer time for scheduling non-emergency service requests because emergency work and the regular mutual repairs will take precedence over these items. So I think this is an upgrade to what we've been offering to
doing.
the residents. So we're pretty excited about this.
So there are two things. So this has to go on 30 days.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is the column that says the estimated cost is incorrect. We were never supposed to say $41.12. It was supposed to be, because these are estimated, so it should have been rounded out to just 00. So that has to be corrected. I already started hounding Siobhan before the meeting. But the other thing is we did add some important things to this list. Like, one of the biggest problems that we have is the people who have their ice maker leaks. You know, the hose leaks? We have so many of those. So we offer a service where we will come in and replace it. So if you're worried about yours that it might leak or something, you can get it replaced. And that is, so what we were trying to not only think of, gee, we know how to do this, let's do it. No, the list wasn't based on that. The list was based on what are things that come up over and over again. So if your toilet's running or your toilet needs to be replaced, your water heater, your ice maker, your doorbell doesn't work. But the other big thing was smoke detectors, and Eileen was going to put together an article in the paper, like how many smoke detectors should you have? How do you test them? We can come and replace them, we could come and put in the batteries. I mean, there are a number of things. So we tried to look at, when we did this, we forgot we weren't board members, we're residents, what we could do. So we would appreciate people who would be using this service. If you have any comments at all, you should let us know. This is Bill's department, so although we've all worked on the list with him. So if there's something that we missed, something that should really be on there, this is what we are going to start with, but we're not going to discuss it today.
I just have a question. It says toilet replacement by the mutual supply toilets.
Yes?
This is the first I heard of. I bought my own toilets.
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question. Some people want to change their toilets out to get a low-flow toilet, because if you sell your residence, you have to have a low-flow toilet.
And the mutual supplies the toilet?
Well, we can.
It says
It's,
mutual
we,
supplies.
yeah,
It doesn't say that we have to pay for it.
Well, it would be included in the cost.
Yeah.
For $200 for it?
Obviously, it isn't a very fancy one. You know, nothing like, showy. But, yeah, we tried to make it easy for the residents. So, but we better check that price. Thanks. All right, yes, Steve.
Yeah, when it says mutual supplied here, correct me if I'm wrong, but that includes the item to be dealt with, and the price is built in plus labor.
Right. Right. So she just thinks that's a good price, and she's probably going to call up tonight and order two.
Well, 30 days.
And again, we're going to be working on this with resident services to make sure that staff is prepared. This is what we're trying to have this work well. Because they used to have chargeable services, 6, 7 years ago? And then they stopped, and we haven't ever been able to get it back. So we're asking people to please look at this list and to let us know if there's something that they really believe should be on there. Marcy, I mean you. Good. All right, yes, Kush.
As much as I like this program, there are certain things that we need to focus on.
Okay, so we'll go over that at the M&C meeting with Bill. You'll go over it with Bill. We're not going to do it here.
Okay.
You've already had like 3 chances to do this.
Right. And a
All right,
reminder,
good.
the next M&C meeting isn't till October.
But you can meet with Bill offline. Don't you worry.
So she says.
Okay, all right.
I know.
All right.
Quickly figure this out.
Okay, so I think this is really important, and I promised Bert Baum that we would get this done before he was off the board. We've been working on it for years.
Just made it.
Just making it right. Okay, all right, so the next one, go ahead, Bert.
Okay, so now we're up to agenda item 13D, page 1 of 15. This is the 2019 collection and lien enforcement policy. This policy shows the procedures, policy, and practices used by the mutual in enforcing lien rights or other legal remedies against members who are in default in payment of assessments. And this is actually the same policy that we used last year. There are no changes. It's been reviewed by legal. It will go out in the annual mailing as required to all of the owners. So I move.
Do we have to, so in second, okay, so we don't have to have 30 days on this
No,
because we didn't
doesn't
change
say
it.
that.
This is to just make sure it's up to date.
Right.
Okay, all right?
Yes.
All those in favor? Okay, done. Next.
Okay, and this is last but not least in our round of policies. This is the 2019 on page, this is agenda item 13D, page 15 of 15. This is the, oh, wait, no, that's wrong, I'm sorry. Now want to talk about, this is item 13E, and on page 1 of 6, and this is the disciplinary violations matrix. And this is important. It may be last, but it's certainly not least, because Steve has been sweating over this for months. Okay, so what we're introducing here is, as it says, is a matrix. So what we're doing is we're classifying various violations, and you can see that there's a table on page 5 of 6, which lists most of the violations that we are working on right now, but this matrix, other violations can be added to it. And it divides them or sorts them into 3 different categories. One is where as soon as the violation is committed, a hearing is scheduled immediately once it's investigated. If we have security there, they can issue a hearing, a notice for a hearing, an immediate hearing. And some of those, and we consider this pretty serious, is that if there are mainly a lot of construction violations, like non-compliance to variance requests. If you're doing an alteration and you haven't gotten a variance, you're in trouble, and you will be cited and asked to attend a hearing immediately. What we want to do is speed up this process Ordinarily, I think it takes 45 days for the average violation to go through from the report to the final hearing. And the process actually can involve a number of steps. There's a violation, it's reported, security checks, compliance investigates, and they confirm that, yes, there is a violation. The first time, under the old system, they got a courtesy notice, and then there was a final notice and hearing. But again, I said, this can take 45 days. The good news is 80% of these violations are handled right after the courtesy. People realize they've done something wrong, and they come into compliance with this. So what this does now, though, is, like I said, speed up the process where the more serious issues are scheduled and there's a hearing immediately. Then there's one which has the normal hearing process, which is not having, say, your dog under a leash, various clutter violations, things that are not considered highly serious. And then there's a courtesy notice. Actually, most of the clutter violations come under courtesy notice. So we are aware of the violation, and you're given a notice to please resolve that issue.
So does this, I'm sorry, does this have to be on 30 days, or it's just,
No,
we
I
just
don't
have
believe
to?
so. Doesn't say that.
Okay, so we need a motion? You made a motion.
I
We have to
move.
second it?
Second.
Okay, and any discussion? Discussion is by the people who made the motion and seconded it first. Do you have anything you want to add?
I think I've talked out on that.
Roy? No? Okay, John's had his hand up the first.
I was looking for an explanation of what one time only means here in your write-up. I can't find it. What does it mean?
Okay, I can answer that.
But shouldn't there be an explanation?
Yes, there's going to be some more extensive footnotes put in here, and that's what I was going to make comment on. One-time notice only is they get a warning one time. After that, the game is up. You're
Like
brought
it's
before a
occurred-
hearing.
it's occurred- Right, okay.
Meaning what? That you go for disciplinary action?
Yes, yes.
Okay, the next, anybody else have a question? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, I have a question on discipline. I guess I'm going to ask Siobhan, because she's the staff officer here. People come to me and say, and I actually have a letter right here from a resident who says, I sent in a complaint to compliance and nothing was done about it. So is there any more, I hate to put you on the spot, but the thing is I think when people contact compliance, they want to know that something is being done. So do we, how do, because I lots of times put things into compliance and I don't think something is done, and here I am, a board member. So, so I don't know what the process is.
A lot of the information, unfortunately, is confidential, so we can't give a report back to the complaining party other than we've received the complaint, we've investigated, and we've taken appropriate action.
Okay, so if somebody asks me they haven't never gotten back to me, I put in 4 complaints, could I tell them to call somebody?
At that juncture, please have them either call me or call Francis, and we will
Okay.
provide what
all
we
right.
are able to
Well,
provide.
good, I have a letter here, I could give you a copy up to handle right now, here it is. Okay, thank you very much.
That's a fairly common complaint.
It is common, that's why I think it's important, it's very important. All right, before we go on to committee reports, I want you to all look at the time, it's 12:14. So we have to put speed into our report. But very important is the candidate videos for those running for the third board. So they're going to be taping these little videos, and the dates that they're running, but we're going to send this out in a blast, is September 12th at 2:30, September 19th at 4 p.m., and September 25th at 2:30. Those, but I'll make sure that, we'll make sure that Eileen gets this out as a blast. I'm going to give a copy to Jules, so he knows how to tell people to watch him on television.
On the 24th, we're having Meet the Candidates in the boardroom at
August.
9:30.
August 24th.
August 24th.
I don't know why they're doing the videos on September 25th. Is that like the last day, like you haven't gotten your, when did the ballots close? When does it close?
Probably closes.
That day? I don't know. Seems, yeah? Oh, I don't know. We might have to check these dates.
But the filming of the candidates will be done right after the Meet the
yes.
Candidates.
Okay.
Madam
All right, so now we're
President?
go-
Right.
I believe the closing date is September 26th at 5 PM, and then we count the ballots on September 28th.
Okay, so most people say that people vote the first week. So I don't know why we're showing the videos the day before they're supposed to stick it in the mail. So I think that the person who's in charge of the election campaign, who happens to be sitting on my right, should,
That has to be in there.
so there's probably, yeah, usually it's the first week. So here you go. Bert is going to take care of it. New dates will be coming out. Thank you. All right, so now, committee reports. First report is the report of the Finance Committee.
Okay, if we could have slide 1, please. I'm going to abbreviate some of this and go through it a little quicker. Okay, total revenue for third through June 30th, 2018 was $16,925,000 compared to expenses of $14,520,000, resulting in more revenue than expenses of $2,405,000. However, caveat on that is that work is commencing shortly, and we assume that a lot of this is going to be spent by the end of year. Slide 2, please. Now we look at those same results with a distinction between operating and reserve funds. This chart shows how much of our revenue went into operations, with $9,438,000 coming in from assessments and $686,000 coming in from non-assessment revenue. This is compared to operating expenses of $9,842,000. After we back out depreciation, which is not funded through operations, we can see the bottom line operating surplus is $356,000 as of this reporting period, of which we anticipate that's going to be spent. Okay, this chart shows, this slide 3. This chart shows how much of our revenue went into reserve funds and the amount expended to date. I'll let you take a look at that. Okay, slide 4, please. Through June, third was better than budgeted by $2,070,000, primarily due to outside service work on reserve programs. And I'll just highlight what they were: building structures, the timing of that, disaster fund, less use of contingency, exterior lighting, the timing on that, and paving, the time on that. As you can see, some things are just getting off the ground, other things are going to be starting shortly. Okay, slide 5, please. Okay, on this pie chart, we see the operating expenses to date of $9,800,000 by category, showing that our largest categories of expense are from compensation to employees and utilities. One thing about that is it tends to fluctuate on the amount for employees and employee benefits, things like that, maybe as high as 53%. Now we're at 49%. So that's in flux depending on what's needed at a specific time. Okay, slide 6, please. The reserve balances as of 30 June were just over $30 million. To date, contributions to reserves, including assessments and interest earned, total over $6.8 million, and expenditures to date total just over $4.7 million. Okay, I want to move on to our monthly resale report, and have some things coming up that I really want to highlight to you. I want to just go ahead and talk about third for a minute. If you notice, our sales through July were 24 compared to 36 last year. Okay, so we're down like 16%. However, when you look at the average resale price, it keeps climbing. And Brad, our CEO, has been mentioning this. He said, while things are down, we still have a demand for things, and the cost keeps going up. I know facility like mine, I bought for less than $200,000, is now going for just a hair under $500,000. and that's over 4 years. So everything is holding its value, and it's actually going up. So just want to let you know on that. One thing I plan to do next month is to bring a chart that shows our trend line over the last year compared to Mission Viejo. And you'd be surprised how similar everything goes. When we go down, they go down. When we go up, they go up. So you have spikes and valleys as you go through. So I'll show that next month, and I think you'll be amazed to see how we're in a trend with everybody else around us. Our report for leases, we are at 27.4% leases. And one last thing I'll mention is that we have coming up on the 22nd of August is our regular meeting with BlackRock from Merrill Lynch on our investments. So it's open to all the board members. We'd like to have you in attendance, as well as our advisors. We have some advisors that are very keen in this area, and we want them to take a look and draw comparisons, and hopefully in the near future, give us an assessment of where they think we need to go. So I'll turn it back to Madam Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve. The next report is the report of the Architectural Control and Standards Committee, Director Walsh.
Right. The last meeting, the most recent meeting, was on July 17th, and all of the alterations were put on the consent calendar for our special meeting on July 26th. So all those alterations were passed through the board. As you listen today, basically we're going to talk about next Monday, which is our next meeting, the 27th of September at 9:30 in the morning. We're going to be talking about our common area use policy, and we're going to be talking about washers and dryers in three-story buildings particularly. So those of you who would like to attend, please come on down. And that's all I have to report on that.
Okay, next is the report of Maintenance and Construction Committee.
Okay, and we pretty well covered a lot of the items that were on maintenance and construction. We talked about non-emergency chargeable services in the last Maintenance and Construction Committee. Rosemarie is going to get together with the Newport Exterminating and staff, Eileen Pollan, to work on a better notification process for the tenting of termite-infested buildings. We know that the address cul-de-sac signage pilot program, it sounds like it's been a success since our CEO is telling us that he's getting lots of calls with that. We've got a lot more work to do on that. Basically, the walkway lighting over in Gate 5 and 6 with the bollards is in full steam, and they are really making a lot of progress. Some of you ought to take a ride over there some night and have a look at what's going on there. During the maintenance and construction meeting, we got in a long discussion about smoke detectors, and that's been put on the non-emergency chargeable services. Water heater replacement, it's something that Bunny brought up, and she wanted to verify that staff was only going to replace water heaters that have a 10-year warranty. And so that's going forward. Those are the highlights. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill. Next is the report of the Parking and Golf Cart Task Force.
Just one quick item. I'm going to give some consideration as to whether I should schedule a meeting of the Parking Task Force.
Well, I want you to know that on cul-de-sac 4002, where they had converted 2 of the places between the parking to golf cart, they now converted a 3rd one. And every time I walk up that street, which is not my street, and I see a little golf cart parked in the spaces, which they always are.
You pat yourself on the back?
No, I pat us on the back because it's like, that's 3 less spaces that were used for cars that are taken up. So I get very excited, and I know that that's part of your plan for next year, is to be out searching for other spaces that can have that conversion. We're budgeted for it.
We've already made a 300% improvement.
Thank you. Brad's taking the credit for it, though. All right, so next is the report of the Landscape Committee. Okay, James.
Thank you. First thing I want to update the 2 project log items. First one is we started the Reach Route cleaning work on July 30th, and now it's nearly complete. In fact, I went there this morning. They already cleaned up quite a bunch. No more those big bundle of trees, but they still need to clean up a little bit more. It's looking better than way before than before. So then with the Kirkus, the wall fence built, then that will be much safer. Second is the fire risk reduction work also started August 6th. So they're in progress. Now, the big thing is I want to show, because we so far irrigation still overuse the water more than budgeted. So that's why all the incentive, we want to reduce the turf. Now, I want to show you a bunch of pictures from this Irvine Great Park, new community. The first one, you can see all those, the plants I'm showing are water saving, non-grass, non-turf landscape. So second, some of them, I have, Bruce told me the name, but the others, if he didn't tell me, I don't know the name. That's why we're getting ready to either hire or El Toro will provide a free consultation for landscape design. Okay, next.
Is that thorn or thorn? Doesn't.
Yeah. This is Japanese boxwood next to the house. Again, Indian hawthorn. Next. This is, again, it's not grass. Next.
It's cute.
Mm-hmm. Next. 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 Now, this one, stop a minute. This is why I'm complaining, start almost 2 years ago. This is my yard at my 3182 at Laguna Woods. This is a two-tone, I call two-tone ground cover. The darker green is called Juniper percommons, and the light, a little bit greenish green is called Demondia. Well, if you like this, see, I advocated, I said, why want to convert? But we don't have enough manpower. So that's why I keep stressing to Brett, get the union reach a new agreement so we can hire a contractor to do a massive turf reduction work. So, okay, next. Now, I want to show some of the, as it is, our current turf area. Would you like this one? You know, we have some poor turfs. We do the best we can, but still, we have this. Next. And this. And next. And then this is where Brad talking about, and where's under the tree, no matter what you do, the grass simply does not do very well. So might as well change to something else. So that's one of the big category we want to remove the turf. Next. Look at this under the tree. It's actually not that bad. Next. And again, it's back to this great parks. Next. Next. Next.
Are you showing these because you like them or you don't like them?
Oh, I do like them.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
Great parks, yeah. Next. In fact, I showing a bunch of this picture in our landscape committee, and residents cheer up. They love it. And I hope you like it too. Next. Next.
I think that right in the foreground is something called blue fescue, which sort of thinks it's grass, but it really isn't.
You're right. Next. Okay, well, I think I shown a bunch enough to give you a feeling. This is called a non-turf or grass landscape, and that's save water. And that's the direction we're going to go. Thank you.
We have money in our budget to do
Yes,
this.
thank you.
Okay, all right, good. Well, thank everybody.
You can experiment on my cul-de-sac, it's a smaller one. I'd be happy to let you do that.
But you should, and we should take a picture of it. Over at Clubhouse 7, he has converted little parts, and it looks very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
I almost thought I was in the wrong place.
Well, you know, last time when we in our landscape committee, people, when after residents saw the picture, they said, oh, we want to volunteer. That's what I'm afraid. Suddenly, you know, maybe 3,000 residents want to change it. We don't have manpower.
Well, we'll have to.
That's what our worries.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
So is that it? Thank you
Yep.
very much. And the next landscape meeting is September 6th at 9
Yes.
a.m. in the boardroom. All right. Traffic hearing, Director Frankel, yes?
We had 12 violations. Parking, decal, overnight parking, red zone parking, one speeding, and one expired registration. And I'd like to bring to the attention of the security and community access of an issue with regard to the red zone parking. Apparently, we're washing the parking areas of these garden villas, and all the people have to vacate. And so a lot of them, it's nighttime, they're old, and they don't know where to park, and they can't see that it's red. So we had several women, and I think security has to do something about that. When we wash them, we're more lenient or something for that night. And let's see.
Talk to the energy department. Maybe they could improve the lighting.
Well, also, we apparently issue extended parking stickers for a year or so, but you can't park at night on these extended parking passes. So when does nighttime start? And so we had 2 people get overnight violations, and apparently they stayed beyond midnight as a guest for a party or something, and they got nailed. So the issue is overnight parking kicks in, and you'll get a ticket after midnight if you don't have an overnight parking pass. We've had a great reduction in contractor violations. There were, for parking, there were 84 in April. Now in July, there were only 31. So it's come down every month. That's the end of my discussion.
Thank you very much, John. All right, the next is the report from the Communications Committee. Director Baum.
What we're trying to do is really concentrate on communications within Third Mutual, okay? And one of the things we're working on, and it's come up before, is notifying the residents who are directly involved in either a construction activity or landscaping activity. So there was a really intensive plan to let all the residents living around Ridge Route, where the work was done outside the community, to reduce the landscaping there. That was pretty noisy, and the residents were directly notified of this on different levels, and I thought that seems to work really well. And the same thing happened in the northwest corridor of our community, where again, there was a lot of slope work that's been mentioned here, very noisy. So the residents were alerted to what was happening, and the seal coating effort, I know because my cul-de-sac was seal coated, and I thought it was well communicated way in advance and with maps, so people realized what was going to be done when and where they could park. And again, we are emphasizing the breeze. We're working on the breeze to try and communicate with every resident. It's free. You can go online. If you go to our website, you can read it there, or you can subscribe and it will be sent to you. It's very juicy reading, so I recommend it.
Has anybody ever determined what is a good amount of time for notification? I mean, because we're not consistent. Some things we learn months in advance. You'll get a notice. Your house is going to be, your unit, it's going to be painted, and like then they never hear about it again. And some things it's a week, some it's 2 weeks, so is that something that's being worked on as part of your plan? Because, and what is a good amount of time?
That's a very interesting point. I don't know. But certainly something would be looked into.
Well, I think it, because it's.
Certainly, we should notify him before it happens. That's our number one
That is
objective
true.
at this point.
But, too far in advance is like, you almost like start laughing, and like remember when they sent the notice, we're gonna be coming out maybe to clean your garbage chute, whatever. And then by the time they come, you don't even remember why they're there and who are these people. So I think that we really have to determine that. And what do you think is a fair amount?
I think probably a week to 2 weeks before it happens. You probably need more than one notice. You need a notice maybe a week or 2 weeks before, and then maybe a few days before it actually happens, because a lot of people like me, they would forget.
But there's some things that take tremendous planning, i.e. painting, or sorry for keep reminding everybody, extermination, painting, and the elevators, when they work on the elevators. So there might be something maybe something should be a month. On the positive side, they're in the midst, I don't know if it's done, we actually bought bulletin boards for all of the garden villas that you can actually stick things on, because the other ones were so old, the pin wouldn't work. So because we use that as a primary method of communication for 3-story buildings. So we save on stamps, we bought the bulletin board.
Well,
So,
also, as part of that, they're looking at different modes of communication.
Right. So modes and times. All right. I hope we find somebody good to replace you. You're going to be an advisor on communication, aren't you?
If it still exists, I will advise.
Okay, good. All right, report of the Village Energy Task Force.
Speaking of notifications, Siobhan, is Edison coming in to do the cabling over in United and some of maybe Third? Are they giving us any notification of that?
We haven't received any updates.
So
We do
they
have
just-
a conference call with them next week, though, and we hope to cover that as one of our topics.
They walked away essentially after okay, thank you. Basically, at the last Energy Task Force meeting, we invited Council Member Sherry Horn to come and speak to us about community choice aggregation. And it in many ways doesn't apply because it's a municipality-based activity. But Sherry actually has contacted Edison, and Edison does have an aggregator for clean energy, for renewable energy. She says it costs a little more than the regular energy that SCE delivers, but if you're really someone who wants to do clean energy, that is available. And it basically wouldn't change your bill, or it wouldn't change, it'd be just like any of your regular bill, except for the electricity would be coming from the renewable energy source like wind or solar. So that's a possibility. Edison is not really very forthcoming about all the details of this because they're not real excited about doing it. But if you know somebody that wants to have your energy source, your electricity source come from a renewable resource, you can actually do that through Edison. So she came and spoke to us. Well, I've talked to you many times about about our solar and getting the data on that. And one of the things that we have tasked, we've actually hired a consultant on a contingency basis. And right now, we haven't done anything with that. But what the task is that we wrote up as our goals here, and I'll read them to you. Third, review the current Third mutual electric infrastructure with an eye toward the current 5 and 10-year load capacity needs for electric panels, transformers, and et cetera. These are particularly for the garages and carport areas in the community. Once that information has been collected, perform an analysis and report on the findings of the electric infrastructure for review. And 3, prepare a strategic action plan for electric infrastructure upgrades, particularly in the multi-story building garages and carports, as well as EV charging, solar, and other efficiencies. So right now, and that can change. But right now, those are going to be the things that we're going to task the consultant with to come back with some reports, okay? United has a very similar set of requirements that they want this energy consultant to deal with. GRF has a whole different set, including microgrids, which Yori Newmark was talking about, the resident earlier. Okay. You also you looked at the revised charter, and that's been done, and that was something we talked about. And you've already heard all the information about the solar voltaics. So the next meeting is going to be on September 12th at 9:30 in the morning, and I think we moved that to the Willow Room, because more and more people are starting to show up. We had a relatively young couple come in and say, why haven't you guys gone all solar and put out charging stations so we can all use electric cars? So as the population, we have younger and younger people moving in here, they're going to be expecting that we have a more modern electric infrastructure. So this is what we're working towards. Thank you.
We got fewer seats in Willow than we do there.
What's that, John?
We have fewer seats in Willow than Sycamore.
In the Sycamore, okay.
Maybe we could rent the Coliseum. No.
Okay.
How about Pine?
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. All right, so the next is the report of the Water Subcommittee, Director Tong.
Thank you. Could I have the second slide? See, my report is always more colorful.
Yeah, but make it short.
Very short. All right, next one. Very quick. Next. Okay, this is updates. Last Thursday, El Toro Water has their third quarterly meeting, and they reported as far as our Gate 9 recycle water project is concerned, they already completed the work, and then they started the second phase of repave our road. People complain about poor paving because they always do the second time. And then that is supposed to be finished by the end of this month. And also starting September, they will little by little, they will connect our irrigation to recycle water. Hopefully, they say, by complete all that connectivity by May next year. So after the May next year, we should be able to see less amount of a higher tier water bill, because after that, only place is the gate 11, gate 14 do not have recycled water or irrigation. Okay, and then they also, the El Toro showing a picture, which is the next one, that as you can see the lower part, the brown part, that's where we are, Southern California. This color indicates that we are in severe drought. So be conservative using water. And in fact, this year, our water usage already exceeded our budget value. I will show 2-3 more slides next. This latest month, our higher tier 4 water bill wasn't too bad, especially for irrigations, only $132, but on the residential side, still over $2,000. So residents, be conservative. I already gave the list to Eileen for sending out a letter for those people. Only one is the 5476 meter. I went there checking, it might be leaking. Already notified the plumbing division to fix the leaking, but the rest are just a planned higher usage. The next. And at the bottom of 2 line, you can see this latest, our tier 3 tier water bill is only at no more than $4,000. So getting better, but we still can make an improvement. And the last one, next one, is this one, the bottom line showing our total up-to-date this year, now, we're using, our water bill was $1.2 million, and which is higher than our budget at the last, right bottom shows. That's why we need to conserve. Otherwise, we have to increase your assessment fee next year. Thank you, that's all.
I have a
Next
further
meeting
add
is,
on.
October 9th.
I have a further add on the water committee. Catherine Freshley was there. She's trying to get up to speed on her new position on the water board. So I asked her about connectivity in the 110 area, and she really wasn't familiar with it. But so I asked her if she could come and brief our board, and she agreed, and Bruce Hartley has agreed. So James and I will put it on the September agenda discussion for October.
What's the subject?
On connectivity, because you see, it's a safety issue. They're disconnecting the potable
Yeah.
and connecting the refreshed, the reclaimed.
Okay, well,
Right?
let me explain
You
that
don't
a
want to
little
drink the
bit.
wrong stuff.
Is when they connect, originally, those, for example, Gate 9 area, the irrigation was connected to the drinkable water. Now they have the recycled water, so they have to be very, very carefully check every valve so that they don't
Right.
make a if you connect it wrong, you drinking your recycled water, that's gonna be terrible. That's why they say, takes a long time. But El Toro Water already done this before, 3 years ago, Gate 7, Gate 8, Gate 10 area. So they're experienced, but the John is new, so we still like to maybe get them to explain a short time how they make such a task safe to our residents. Is that every time, how they check, so that when they connect, indeed, this is a irrigation, not drinkable pipes.
I think you should point out, because residents have asked me, that the system is, one is completely independent from the other, and I think even
Right.
their color codes, is the way
Yeah.
I saw it, the
So
pipes
there's
are
no
different
chance
colors.
that you're.
No,
Right,
shouldn't.
okay.
Should-
Well, we
Yeah,
would
yeah,
want-
one more comment is, another thing is, the part of the reason, Gate 11, they always refuse to change to recycle water. They think because they think that for Gate 11, since each house has its own meter, so they think, and they don't understand. On the Gate 11, the irrigation meter is different from their drinkable meter. In fact, Raul told us, we now learn, only entire Gate 11, only 37 irrigation meters. So for the whole 307 houses. So El Toro Water has the wrong concept. They think they need to work on 300 meters. No, there's only 37 meters. And we told that to Catherine. She came to our meeting. She says, oh, now I know. She's going to go convince El Toro Water, hey, start the recycled water in Gate 11.
Okay, so it's El
Thanks.
Toro Water who doesn't want to put it in Gate 11.
Yeah, because they think it's not economical for their reason.
And the reason why they don't want to put it in Gate 14 is because of the hill.
Because of the distance alone.
Right,
But
okay.
I'm trying to convince them, hey, we
'Cause there's a
gotta
lot of-
treat all
okay.
residents equally.
Okay, all
Thank
right,
you.
so thank you very much, James. And, but before we have a presentation at our board meeting, we have to make sure that it's, a presentation is short, that it covers exactly what we want.
It's going to be 10 minutes on connectivity. And Bruce Hartley is very, very happy with that.
Okay, good, all right. So as long as Bruce is happy, we're good. All right, Resident Policy and Compliance Task Force.
Okay, we discussed a few issues. One was the matrix. We spent a lot of time on that and looked at what categories should go where. So I think that worked out pretty well. Tim Moy talked to us about contractor enforcement in terms of parking. Although the numbers have gone down, he says they've been very vigorous in enforcing that. Kurt Wyman talked to us about vacant manor visits. Now they're in the process of going into these unoccupied manors to determine what state they are. They had 110 to start with. I think the number is a little lower, but they're looking for damage within these manors. Really important issue was care provider on our policy. We've had a lot of kickback on that. Only fewer than 125 care providers have registered in the community, and we know there are much more than that. And Susan McInerney, who is the new head of the social services, she's the social service manager. She's very knowledgeable and been very aggressive, and they formed a working committee with security, compliance, social services, and resident services to come up with a more reasonable policy. And they're pretty close to doing that, and I can report it would be much easier for our residents. We want to encourage them to please register under this program. It's important for the resident and it's important for the community. So there's a lot of good reasons to do this, and we're going to make it easier for you to comply. And also as part of that, Pamela Bashline discussed the lease policy. That's also being revised. Again, we want to make it easier. We want to lessen the paperwork involved, and I think there will be some good results out of that program too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so 9 minutes to lunch. The GRF committee highlights, anything to report? On CAC? No? Anything to Okay, so anything to report on finance? No?
Yeah, just about BlackRock on the 22nd.
Right, okay, that's tomorrow. All right, maintenance, Bunny?
So, maintenance, they decided to add gate 10 as far as putting the gates up for this year. And,
Can't hear you.
and I turned it on, okay. They added a sink, for pickleball. People come in and ask for that. And they're also going out to bid for the new containers, that are holding our hazardous materials, for the pools. So
Okay.
That's a quick, I don't know if John wants to add any more to that.
All right, so is there anything else to add for any GRF committees? Yes, Roy?
Cheryl, this is the second month in a row that we have the wrong date for security and community access. They changed the meeting time from Thursday to every fourth Monday. And so that would make the next meeting the 27th, and that's a permanent change. Okay? Thanks.
That's it? Okay, so,
No.
yes, John?
I'm sure you're all aware, the 800-pound gorilla issue here in this village is buses. So the 31st of this month, there'll be 100 people out here, and transportation is going to present, Bruce is going to present bus options because they're unhappy with what we got, and we're going to try to solve it.
Okay.
That's Judith.
All right, so there is nothing else, so now, just before we go, I could go around the table really quickly to see if anyone wants to make a comment. Siobhan, thank you very much for your hard work. We're very happy with you. Jack, you're looking good. We're glad you're back.
Yeah.
All right. Bunny? John? Steve? James? Bill?
Nothing.
No.
Nothing on this side? Okay, so this meeting is recessed until this afternoon when we go to closed session. Thank you.
For 8 minutes.